What's up, guys? What you're about to listen to is an interview that we did last night with Jeff Graham. Jeff is one of our best friends, one of my best friends, and because of that, I didn't think to do the who, what, when, where, and why of who he is and why we're interviewing him. So I'm putting this beginning of the video so that you guys know that he has Jeffrey Graham Tattoos on TikTok. He has been a tattoo artist for 14 years. He works at Sacred Rites Tattoo in Port Charlotte, Florida, which is my studio, and he has an amazing talent. You should give him a follow. Also, at the beginning, probably the first 30 minutes of the interview, you're going to hear clicking every once in a while from Angie's phone. They have a special needs kid, so it's not like they can just leave the phone away. Normally, we would like to keep that as far away from the microphones as possible, but we weren't able to do that in the interview. So just bear with us. It's not the entire time, and we hope you enjoyed the interview.
So might be a hot take.
Okay.
We'll go for it. Whatever.
I'm
If I
here for
couldn't
it.
afford it, I'd find a way. So I need 2 jobs. I'm going to do 2 jobs. Do I need to work 3 jobs? Why not? If I got to do it, I'm going to do it. If we can't afford it, I'm going to find a way to afford it. We don't have health insurance, right? So all that comes out of pocket,
Right.
and all that takes away from the family. All
Wouldn't
of
you
it.
dying take away from the family?
Just babbling along.
Yeah.
She's like, you're going to be with me for at least the next 37 years. And I'm like, 37 years is
Just
the
a
cutoff?
number.
Very specific.
So
yeah.
tired. They're hot. There's bugs.
Someone has to go to the bathroom.
Your
Yeah.
kids sound like me when they're outside.
It's,
Heart gross, 3 sizes. Yeah.
yep.
Brings me that warmth.
I'm definitely bringing Christmas to Whoville.
And we're back.
We're back.
Trying this for the second time since Peach has ruined it with coughing.
I'm
And now the fridge is on.
medicating.
Medicating?
Yes.
We are back with, for the first time and hopefully not the only time, Jeff Graham and his wife, Angie. We have been talking about doing this interview for months now, and it finally happened. The whiskey room got done. I
Yeah.
went into the shop today. I'm like, bro, you guys want to do it tonight? It's the next week? He's like, I'm not going to ask. And it worked.
We're here.
You got to ask.
Yeah.
So everybody that's part of Patreon and Discord already knows who you are. A lot of our followers already knows who you are because we plug the shit out of you on the podcast.
Oh, I know. It's always on my TikTok. Like, hey, we're here from the 2BB.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2BB all the time.
I popped in your live earlier and Angela was in there. She's like, oh, hey, Chris, I got my job.
Oh, hell yeah. She
Yeah.
got the job?
Yep, she's an apprentice now.
That's dope.
Yep.
That's
Or not
super
an
dope.
apprentice. They actually hired her on as an artist. But,
Yeah.
Yep. So I have wanted to get you in here because you and I have very similar life experiences in that we're both self-taught. You were a previous business owner. We have similar marriages. Like life is very similar in that aspect. And I wanted to talk mainly about the differences. Well, I want to talk about a lot of things. I have a lot of things I want to talk about. And I know that like I don't want to be here until 10 o'clock bullshitting, but I want to cover a broad spectrum of topics. And I wanted you here because I want to talk about the traditional aspect of your marriage because you are a stay-at-home mom with 6 fucking kids and one of them being special needs. That is a very difficult thing. And 95% of our listeners are either stay-at-home or want to be stay-at-home wives. So with your career and the amount of hours that you've put into your career, because I mean, you've worked the ridiculous hours that we've worked. How does that affect you in your life? Because he's not there a lot of the time. Like you're running the day-to-day at the house and he's grinding to make ends meet. Like how has that affected you guys in terms of your marriage?
We're pretty good at it, but you got to stay open. We're honest, or try to be more honest each time, all the time. Nobody's perfect though. So, but we try to stay honest and open, just like with the, hey, can I go do this? Is this something you would want to do tonight? I would never have said yes without asking her. And that rolls over to just about anything. If I'm going to try and do, I don't know, like a seminar, or if I want to go do a guest spot, or if I want to tattoo somewhere, whatever, it all gets ran by her first. So, and the same thing goes for her. If she wants to do something, spend money or whatever, you want to go to the pool with the kids or whatever, all that stuff goes by me first. We don't make decisions on our own. It's a group effort. And that's how we try to keep it together. If she runs the house like 100%, I get home and hide, right? People are always like, oh, you're a saint, you got all those kids. And I'm like, not me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I deal with the kids. I'm usually just the enforcer, though. I'm the guy that I'm scared. When your dad gets home, that's me. That's my role. When dad gets home, you're in trouble.
So then how do you guys, because one of you is not a set decision maker, you bounce everything off of each other. How do you guys navigate, not a disagreement, but like if one of you wants to do something and one of you doesn't want to do it and you can't come to an agreement one way or the other, how does that normally get resolved?
Compromise.
It's just mostly respect. If I know it's something that he really wants to do, we're going to do it. That's just, and I think it's the same way.
Yeah.
I want him to enjoy things. I want him to have the best. And I think it goes both ways. So I think.
Absolutely. So if it's not something I want to do, I'm going to put my differences aside and I'm going to do it whether I think it's going to be fun or not. You know, it's dragging all the kids anywhere. That is an absolute wreck. And while, you know, I like them to have a good time and have good experiences, it is so hard. And the entire time the kids are complaining, they're upset, they're hungry, they're tired, they're hot, there's bugs.
Someone has to go to the bathroom.
Your kids sound like me when they're outside.
It's a mess. So
It's hot. There's bugs. I don't want to do this. I have to pee.
right. So I dread it, and inevitably every time we do it, one of the kids is going to just, I don't know, they get it in their head to just ruin the entire trip. Every
True.
time, and it's not always the same kid.
Yeah.
One of them's going to ruin it, and I think they do it on purpose. I don't
They
know
take
that.
turns.
It is something else. So that's something that I'm not a huge fan of doing. You know what I mean? And you have to really kick me in gear to get me going. But if I know she really wants to do it, then I'm going to do it. And other things, like she's like super anxious or whatever right now for being here. But she knows that this is something that's going to help my career. She knows this is something that I want to do. So she'll push past that to help, you know, if it's something that I want.
So the compromise thing is fucking huge because that is a form of this. We had a very long discussions today about submission because every time we use the word submission on our podcast or on a TikTok, fucking everybody comes up in arms. But what you guys just described is submission. You are submitting to each other in the moment to make sure that you have the best possible relationship you can have. And that sometimes means putting yourself in a position where you don't want to do things. Do you think with the amount of work that you do in terms of hours that you put in every week that your home time, like you just don't want to do shit anymore because you're working so much? Like it's just nice to be at home versus out in public.
Yeah. Yeah. And then plus I'm dealing with the public already.
That was going to be my next question.
I'm already dealing with the public. Do I really want to go have to deal with the public more? I am an introvert 100%.
You would never notice that at the shop.
No.
Right.
That's because I said that. When I go to the shop, I have to change it. So I flip that switch. And I understand that I'm not allowed to be an introvert there. I understand that if I am, I'm going to lose business. I'm going to lose customers. And my biggest thing, even though, I'm okay at tattoo, I'm good at tattooing, whatever. My biggest draw is how nice I am to my people. My biggest draw is how I talk to them. It's got absolutely nothing to do with how good I'm tattooing 80% of the time.
Right.
So we're losing that in the tattoo industry, and
Yes, we
that's
are.
sad. We're losing it.
Yes, we are. We've talked about that at length lately. Sean and I have talked about it at length. You and I have talked about it at length. I don't like where the tattoo industry is going. Like there's a part of me that is becoming almost resentful because I had the rough and tough heyday of it and then watched it become corporate entities and like franchised and like really marketed. And now I'm watching it go from like the franchise thing. We hit like a small patch of super egotistical rock stars during like the Kat Von D Miami Inc. era, and then it phased out and it's coming back, and people who don't have a right to have that fucking ego have that ego.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much, dude.
The ego is terrible. And if you want to be egotistical about how good you are at tattooing, that's one thing. Like having a little bit of confidence in what you do is huge in tattooing. But there becomes a point where when your ego is, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that without being an absolute ass.
Be an ass.
Nobody here is going to hate you for it.
Well, I would hope not, but people are like that. And it's close here, even here. You get people that have that giant ego and they think they're better than everybody else. And it doesn't just affect one person in the tattoo shop or even one tattoo shop. Right. It'll affect the entire area. If you've got one bad apple even in the town, it'll affect your business too, because then people get a bad view on who tattoo artists are or what we are. Like, there's people that are scared to come and get tattooed because we're intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm not an intimidating person, but somebody might have intimidated them, or they had a bad experience once before, and that ruins it for every tattoo shop in the town. Even if you're not like that, you see it a lot. I see it, and it's increasingly more and more and more. It's not good.
We're seeing that now with TikTok too, because of the people who are on TikTok making fun of their clients, talking shit, bashing people, and that will carry over. So like now it's not even a local thing anymore. Now it's a nationwide thing. We're global.
Yeah.
You see somebody talking shit about their clients and how they want to fucking do their job or don't want to have a small talk conversation. People look at that and see that and be like, damn, dude, are all tattoo artists like this? Like, I enjoyed talking to my artist. Now I know he's faking it. Fuck these people.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me that people don't understand that the humanity that is involved in all of it. And obviously, your social battery gets drained. That's why I was going to go to that when I asked you about you staying at home. Because you work with the public. Not wanting to work with the public and like deal with them during your time off is how you recharge your social battery so that you can actually do your job.
Yeah.
Right? So we all have limits to our social battery, and people who are in the industry who are already angsty individuals, they need to like reel that the fuck in and not show that to the public. Even if they feel that way, they should bite their tongue.
Yeah. Okay, so, and another thing, a lot of people don't realize that 80% of what you say is nonverbal.
Right.
And so even if you can somehow or another reel it back in and pretend that you care, if you don't care, people are not dumb. They can see it. And they can see it almost instantly. There's so many good books about how body language tells people what they do and how fast it happens. It's crazy. So you got to fight. You can't. I get so worked up about it because I see it so often and I get so mad. The way that people treat the clients that come in, the people that are feeding your family, the people that are giving you the money to survive. People are going to see that. If you're fake, they know it. It's instant. It isn't, they don't have to wonder. It doesn't take a full 2-day session to decide that you're a piece of shit.
Right.
It happens right away.
We have that discussion constantly about body language because we have a lot of the emails that we get from people who listen to us is that there's no more intimacy in the relationship, which is a conversation I want to get into in a minute. But that intimacy is controlled by the woman. It always is. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. There's been studies done about it. When a woman's safety, security, and intimacy is off, it's gone in the fucking house. And there's nothing that we can do other than try to make them feel safe and secure to get that intimacy to come back. And a lot of that comes down to body language. There's a difference between going, whatever you want to do, babe, and like being engaged versus walking away and be like, yeah, whatever you want to do, babe. Like, you know what I mean? And people read that. You read that body language. We are taught that from infancy because we don't know how to communicate with our parents. We learn facial expressions and the way the body is feeling. And like, you would think that because we've dealt with that our entire fucking lives, that would just be normal knowledge. And
it's absolutely not.
It is
You
not.
mean body language?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would be like, there would be more people that understood how body language worked or that it is working. There's nobody does. Like, obviously people do, but not a lot.
Right.
And I preach it all the time to the people at the shop, but nobody listens to me. So it doesn't really make a difference.
Have you guys seen those TikToks of how many states are in the United States? People are like 47.
He says yes.
Yeah. Yes, that guy. I don't think we can expect people to know these kind of things.
Yeah.
You should.
You really should.
You really should, because you're legitimately trained your entire life to see these things. And you see them, whether you realize you're seeing them or you're not, subconsciously, you know. So you should be able to understand that that's what's happening right now. You know, if you walk up to somebody and you're immediately uncomfortable, if somebody walks by you and you're uncomfortable because your subconscious mind told you something's wrong. And it's right more often than it's not.
I just recently read a book called 4,000 Weeks. It's a time management book, but it's not like it's a deceptive label. It's not time management. It's the discussion of time and how you should focus on things. But they talked about in that book that you retain 0.00004% of the data that comes into your brain from external sources. So that subconscious shit is what is not filtered. It just goes right into your subconscious. And like, that's why sometimes you're like, oh, that didn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that our conscious didn't catch it. Our subconscious did because it's been filtered down to such a small amount. Do you have any questions for them before we move on? Anything that you want to?
No.
We're just kind of winging it. So
Okay.
I figured you'd have a list of stuff, and there'd be like computers here, and you'd be scrolling through stuff.
I
I legit figured that's what it would be.
I kind of wanted to have a list of questions like that, but I feel like all of our interviews so far that have been just conversations that have evolved with questions as we've gone are more enjoyable to listen to because it makes people feel like they're in the room with us just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. Our podcast is not business related heavily, although it is an undertone. It does come down to communication, traditional values,
Personal growth.
Yep. And accountability, extreme accountability. So that's, I don't want to base the entire podcast around that. I do want to talk about tattooing and the industry and what you're doing with TikTok and things like that. But I wanted to get some of the base questions out, which is why I was asking questions about the problem solving, because I'm the final decision maker in our marriage. If we have a discussion and she gives me all the points that she doesn't like about something, I weigh them, and then I have a decision to make. We're either going to do this or we're not. And that does come down to if there's a 50-50 disagreement and you're at a no and I'm at a yes, you have given me the ability to be like, all right, fuck it, we're doing this, or okay, we're not doing this. And that comes down to open communication, which you guys covered. And the submissive aspect of it you covered as well. You just don't have a designated decision maker.
I feel like it's mostly him.
Yeah.
But it depends, because when it comes to the kids, that would be me.
Right.
So ours is broke down. When it comes to the kids, it's primarily me because I know what's going on a lot more in depth than you do. So I feel like when it comes to money, financials, what we're going to do, that would be you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Well, she knows their birthdays.
I mean, and they're medical things. Like I always give him all the information
Every time.
and
Right.
beg for input because it's always scary, especially with our special need guy. He needs a lot, and sometimes that is terrifying all in itself to make those decisions.
Yeah.
But so I try to get as much input as I can, but ultimately I'll make most of those choices.
Yeah, I think really it's more of a we know our place, kind of a know your role thing.
Right.
I know that she knows the kids better than I do. I love my kids, but I can't tell you, what Dylan's last doctor's appointment was. I cannot tell you.
Right.
I don't know when the next one is. I don't know what the last one was. She does, and I don't. She was there for when the doctor said, this, that, or the other. I wasn't. So if it comes down to what the kids are doing, that's a her thing. That's not a me thing. She spends way more time with them than I do. And it's because I'm constantly at work, or if I'm not at work, I'm at home working.
Right.
It's never ending.
So who handles the finances?
I do.
Okay. So she has been called
I've been called a slave, a gender traitor, brainwashed.
all because she's a stay-at-home.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I would probably fall in those same roles to those people as you do, because
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
we have the same roles.
So he made a comment a minute ago about the house being yours. I've said that over and over and over again. If I walked in and she's like, take your fucking shoes off, I'm not going to be like, no, bitch. I'm going to take my fucking shoes
My
off.
shoes are coming off.
Right,
Yeah.
immediately by the door. And then I'm going to get a broom and sweep up whatever little mess I just made because she obviously just cleaned the floor.
Yeah.
And there's a power dynamic in that. And the people that don't understand the stay-at-home wife situation don't realize the amount of power that the woman has in the house. We literally just recorded before you guys got here. And one of the discussions was, why don't women have a man cave? Like, they don't even have a term for it, which they do. The person who sent the email had never heard of a she shed, apparently.
She should.
But when we were discussing it, I realized that I don't have say in the way the house is decorated. I don't give a fuck what's in the kitchen. I don't care what's in the bathroom. I don't care if there's pictures of us hanging all over the fucking house. I don't care if there's kids' photos. And like, I want where I sit to be comfortable. So like, I will sit on the couch and be like, opinion yes or no on the couch. But I have my whiskey room that I decorated, that I enjoy being in. But the rest of the house is whatever you want it to be. I don't care. So when you guys are buying furniture, is that a thing? Do you just buy what she wants to make her happy?
Yeah.
Yep. Don't care.
Do you have an area dedicated in your house to just your space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the rest of it's hers. I got my computer desk, and that's where my wall comes at. And that's even in the same room as that's on our bedroom. You know, we don't have a lot of space. So we'd make do with what we got. But the same thing goes for like the dinner table. My space is my space. You know, I don't really care. You can move me wherever you want. But once we find it, and she's like, nope, that's Dad's. You know. So they're not allowed to impede on my space. So, and that's a her thing. That's not a me thing. She doesn't.
You deserve a
She
spot.
doesn't. She doesn't want people encroaching in my stuff. You know, don't touch Dad's stuff. Know that.
Yeah. I do that with the kids too.
Yeah. You do.
Yeah, they know better to even like get on the couch where you sit at. We
Yeah.
have the two massive circular couches in the living room, and the kids are allowed on that because it's easily cleanable with crumbs and whatnot.
They can be vacuumed.
They can be vacuumed. I don't want to clean that leather.
No.
No.
So in that aspect, do you enjoy being a stay-at-home mom? Like, do you want to go back to work? How does that look? Because I know for a while you were looking at it.
I did go back for a little bit. It's too much for us because I enjoy being home with the kids, and I found that more when I was at work. I missed them. And I missed being able to handle things like he was having to do doctor's appointments. I was missing information. I definitely need to be there, I think, especially when we have 6 of them.
Yeah.
There's so many kids
Yeah.
and so much stuff. I need to be there as much as I like it, I think.
I like being a stay-at-home mom. I don't like not being in control and knowing everything that's going on with the kids.
I think that's where I am.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
delegating to Jeff, and I felt bad because I was putting extra on him. He's working, and I felt bad for that, but I also really, really needed to be there to know what was happening with some of our kids' medical things that were happening.
I'd take him to a doctor's appointment, and I'm like, and she's messaging me every 30 seconds. I'm like, are you not supposed to be working right now? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know? And
It
she's
was
like, I'm
short-lived.
just concerned. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll
Maybe
be all
you
right.
should have taken the day
We'll be
off.
all right. You know? But I don't know. She'll get into the little funks, like legit, where she'll want to go out and do stuff, and I don't hold her from that. If she wants to go out and work, then have fun, do you. But she'll get it out of. She'll go out and do it and realize that she misses home and wants to be at home. She's like the first, I don't know, what did you work 7 or 8 months this time you worked, something like that. And after about month 4, it is out of her system, and she just wanted to be at home, and that's fine too.
Do you think that that's a I want to work, or do you think it's like
I need a break.
I need a break, right? Like, do you do anything
that
for
one.
self-care?
I was just getting ready to ask that.
Well, then you handle that, woman. Do your thing.
That's really, really hard for me with Jeffrey. We don't have family here.
Yeah.
And he's got autism and epilepsy and so many special needs that I don't trust anyone with him. So until I can find someone to kind of help with him, no. I think so. I think you're right on the realms of more I needed a break.
Right, a little bit of time away from
Yeah.
all the crazy in the house. It gets wild in there.
I can imagine. You
6
guys have a
kids
bunch
and-
of animals and
Oh yeah, you got all the animals.
yeah.
6 animals?
Yeah, you got 4 cats and 2 dogs.
Like,
Aren't
I
there
don't know
guinea
who we
pigs?
is.
we did. I
I
had to
have
get rid
one
of the
cat.
guinea pigs.
Oh,
I was
gotcha.
allergic to what they ate.
Oh, that sucks.
Which cat are you claiming?
Whiskey. The rest of them are their cats
Yeah.
and whatnots,
Yeah, whiskey still sleeps with me though.
which is fine with me because that thing is hot.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
You can have her. You can sleep with her all day. I don't care.
I want a cat.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let me just tell you, I have the perfect cat for you.
Oh no, God.
You're going to try to get Kingsley back?
No, no, I wouldn't. Kara would lose her mind. I would give you Clark.
Clark, he's a big fluffy guy. He's the
He's so
sweetest
sweet. He
cat.
just can't be
do
around.
that.
Yeah, he just can't be around other animals.
I can't be. I have cat allergies.
Oh, so you do
which
need
is
one
why
of
I
the
always had the
nakeds.
naked cats. And I would have kept Kingsley, but I don't know. The cat would get in the cat box. He would poop and then step in it with all 4 feet and then run through the fucking house
Still does it.
and then jump on me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Oh my, there's poop all over me. And like,
It's not as bad now, but yeah,
he
still
did it
does
every fucking time he went to the bathroom. Like he would go and then come to tell me that he pooped. And I would know because as soon as he jumped on me, he could covered in shit and he's hairless.
And he
So-
stinks.
yeah.
Yeah. He would. Well, he would stink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've both ingested a lot of reading over the last 3 years, probably more than anyone I know. I was at one point putting through like 4 to 5 books a week. And a lot of the things that we talk about is, and that we've read about, was the need for self-care with a stay-at-home mom. Do you remember the percentages that were on that? Because they gave us percentages. I know that they talked about the battery of all of that.
What do you mean percentages?
Didn't they say that like you needed to leave a certain amount of it like in the tank?
20% at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to deal with like emergency bullshit.
Can you explain that and ask her about that? Because I don't remember verbatim how that went. That was always a you thing.
In regards to self-care?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the 20% that's left in the tank is for things like wanting to get some
intimacy and emergency. Right.
Yeah.
We call them spoons.
Yeah, that's what it's a spoon theory. There's actually something out there on Reddit on it. You can only start your day with so many spoons, and at the end of the day, you're borrowing from another day's spoon. There's an actual theory.
You have
out
a
there.
certain
You'll
amount of
have to read it.
spoons every day. If you go through that amount of spoons each day, then you have to borrow from the next day's spoons, and so on and so forth.
Ooh, you're going to run out of spoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So you have to make sure that you keep yourself a certain amount of spoons each day.
for other things.
That works. I have a lot of spoons in the kitchen right now.
Yeah, you do. I think that the conversation, the way that we had it before, was that you have you start off every day at 100% if you got a good night's sleep and like you wake up refreshed. And if you go to 0 and you have nothing left in the tank and then an emergency hits, you are now running at a defunct
deficit.
battery, and you're not going to recover to 100% the next day. Yeah. And like you are supposed to leave 20% in the tank all the time, so you're never fully run down. Mm-hmm. And if you do go to 0, it destroys your intimacy. It will leave no emotional faculties in the event of an emergency because you're just fucking exhausted. Yeah. And because you have 6 kids and one of them being special needs and you working the hours that you work, I guess the question that I have, and knowing that you don't do self-care the way that you should be doing self-care, how do you maintain that level of, you guys get along really well. You guys are my best friend. Like, you're my best friend. So like, I care about all of this. So this is not me just trying to probe into your life. I genuinely want to know these things, but how do you keep that sanity? Because you do have a lot of kids, and like J3 has a lot of needs. When you say autism, a lot of people have autism now. Yeah. It's not to this. She has autism. It's not to the same extent that he has. So you've got to be doing something to try to keep that, or you guys wouldn't get along the way you do.
We get along the way we do because I understand what she goes through. I understand how hard it is at home. I understand how hard Jeffrey is. He's nonverbal. He's 7 years old. He's still in diapers. He has epilepsy. What is it? Fetal alcohol syndrome. Now real quick. We adopted him when he was 11 months. So they think he has partial fetal alcohol syndrome too. So I understand how hard it is because I deal with them on occasion too. And to think about dealing with them 8 hours or however many times a day without me all day long, every single day, she doesn't get a day off. There is no day off for her. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think to myself sometimes too, like, I don't ever get a day off. Right. And she'll say, you don't get a day off. You need a day off. I'm like, when's your day off? When is it? Because it doesn't exist. And I understand that. So a lot of people don't understand what their spouse does every day. They think, oh, well, you're just sitting at home, or they're just kids. You're just babysitting kids, or whatever it is. It's all nonsense. She does twice the amount of work I do every single day. And if she wants to complain about it, she can complain about it. And I'll listen to it and I'll understand it. So I think that understanding is huge there. That's why we stay so good. I don't get upset if she snaps at me, because I understand that she's probably not snapping at me. She's snapping at the kids. And she'll always come to say, hey, I'm sorry. I snapped at you, but this is why. I was, the kids were driving me crazy, or whatever it was. And then we move past it. So again, it's just communication.
Didn't we just go over something in one of the books that we were reading about empathy?
Yes.
That's it, guys.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. It's fucking empathy.
Yeah. We're getting ready to interview a photojournalist that actually just did a documentary for Netflix not too long ago where he was doing video work. The
You talking about the caravan?
Yeah.
Or the drug cartel?
Well, it's the same guy, but yeah. At the end of the video where he did the caravan, because do you remember when Trump was in office and that the migrant train is what they called it, but it was the largest migrant movement from Honduras to the United States ever existed? It was
Like
like a
10,000.
month long, and it was like 15,000 people were walking from Honduras to the border. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. He was the first person there. He started before it became a big movement, and as he walked with the migrants from Honduras for over a month, and then one of his video clips got picked up by Fox News, and then picked up by Breitbart, and then made it to the president. They picked that up and started making this big hoopla about it, while this dude was actually in the trenches with these guys, and like he's wearing, like high-end boots and carrying camera gear, and some of these people are wearing Walmart flip-flops and carrying children, and like no food, no clothes, nothing, just a backpack and a child, trying to make it to a better thing. And like he said that he realized that when you are filming and taking pictures of this, the journalist in you just wants to be in everyone's shit just taking pictures. He's like, but then you realize that these people are really fucking going through it. And like he started creating relationships and like getting to know these people and having conversations. And he rode the Beast, which is a train that runs through the worst parts of Mexico. And they were like, if the train stops, be prepared to fight to the death because it's the cartel coming to take you and your kids. Like,
Yeah, kidnappers.
yep. So he got to the border, and then because he's a Canadian, he can just walk across the U.S. border like it's nothing, while all these other people can't, including his camera crew. And he was talking about the biggest takeaway from that entire month and a half that he walked from Honduras to the United States was that we need to be more humble, have empathy, and not take ourselves so seriously. And like, it needs to be on a t-shirt, because my ego kills talent is kind of the same thing. Like I've watched so many people who are very good at what they do throw their careers away because they think that there's something they're not, or they're not willing to learn anymore. They're not willing to have humility, and they take themselves too seriously. Like it's just worded differently, So that's where the empathy thing came from. I don't think it was actually in a book. I think it was from us having the discussion about that interview that's coming up.
Oh, it was something. I broke down empathy and sympathy because they are not the same thing. Same thing. To be sympathetic with somebody is to
Feel sorry for them.
is to acknowledge and agree with what they're going through.
That's empathy.
No, empathy.
To recognize it. And
Empathy is
understand
to acknowledge and understand, but not agree. So, for example, a serial killer who had a rough childhood, you can be like, damn, I feel bad that they had that rough childhood. It doesn't justify the things they did. So you can be empathetic, but not sympathetic.
Gotcha. Did you have anything else that you were going on, or was the empathy thing where you were at? Because I had a question while they were talking. We
That
both
was
looked at
it.
each other and we were looking like we were about to both say something, so I waited.
Yeah. No, that was it. That was describing empathy. When you don't have empathy for your partner, that's an intimacy killer.
Yeah. Yes, it is. A lot of parents that work the schedule that you work that is not at home are not present with the children when they are. And you said that you understand the amount of work that she does when you're not there, and you understand what she goes through, which is why you don't take it personal when she snaps at you. You understand, you guys don't argue over that. Do you think that, first of all, how does that make you feel knowing that he's completely cognizant of what's going on in the house when you're there and he's not?
I feel heard.
Okay.
I feel like he listens to me when I do tell him the things. At the end of the day, when everything's to the absolute boiling point and he comes home exhausted and I tell him all the crap that happened for the day, he's definitely hearing it. And that's really important. It diffuses a lot of situations.
Do you think him actually hearing you, that's like another reason for you to get up in the morning and do it all over again?
Oh, yeah. Because you listen and you care.
I'm
As
just doing
opposed
what
to
I'm
just-
supposed to do. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I love her. I know I'm supposed to do that stuff. What is it? A lot of people say I have an old soul.
This is why we get along so well, right?
Why?
Because we have a very similar mindset on what a man is supposed to be in the household.
Oh.
And we both do that. What are you doing? Are you
I'm trying not to cry. Don't look at me. Continue.
we have that it is our duty to take care of our women and our kids and to do the things that we do. And if that
Yeah.
means we have to work our fingers to the fucking bone, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
That's a lost art, I think. That
Well, that's what I'm
men
saying.
don't have that anymore.
Yeah, nobody does. I mean, definitely men. And I don't know where it comes from, and I don't really care. But my grandparents basically gave me the morals that I have, and obviously they're grandparents. So I'm going to get that. This is my job. My job is to make sure that you have a house, you have food, you're happy, you're healthy. That is my job. And if any of those things is lacking, then I am not doing my job. It is what it is. Like, I don't know. That's an old soul in me, I guess.
Yeah. There's a resurgence of that happening. This podcast is an example of that. The amount of followers that we have are because there are women who want the life that you have, and there are men who want to be the men that we are. I get emails all the time that are like from women who are like, I want my husband to be the man that your husband is, directing it to her or about me. I really think that we're going to see a transition of that because people don't want to fucking work until death anymore. Yeah. And like you have two people in a home, you realize that because you're home all the time, your kids are going to have a much further head start in life because they have a parent that is accessible all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. And I've seen you with your kids. Your kids trust you. Like you have a relationship with them. It's not just go to your room and play on your tablet. That you are, their brain development is going to be better because of it. We've done the research. Like I'm not just talking shit. I know that this is factual. And there are a lot of people out there who are like, I want what you guys have. We just can't afford it. And I'm like, learn a trade. Man needs to start welding, carpentry, like.
Yeah, so might be a hot take.
Okay.
We'll go for it, whatever.
I'm
If I
here for
couldn't afford it, I'd find a way. So I need 2 jobs. I'm going to do 2 jobs. Do I need to work 3 jobs? Why not? If I got to do it, I'm going to do it. If we can't afford it, I'm going to find a way to afford it. That's just the way it is. Do I need to sell all my worldly possessions to make sure that it's happening? Sure. None of that stuff means anything to me. The only thing that means anything to me is whether or not she's happy, whether the kids are fed and have a house, period. And you say what you want to say. I don't care. If I have to, I'm going to. If tomorrow tattooing couldn't pay all the bills and I needed to get a job at McDonald's, I'm not too proud to get a job at McDonald's. I will do it. I do what it takes. People are too proud. They think that they're better than that. I'm better than McDonald's. No, you're not. Stop it. You're just not. I'm not. You're not. Nobody is. Yeah. You're not better than anybody else, or not. I'm not lower than anybody else because I would have to work at McDonald's to support my family. I'm doing what it takes. So
that can be proven by when COVID hit. And what did you do?
Oh, I worked for Rooms to Go.
You just picked up and started doing physical labor instead of the trade that
you're
used to doing.
Yeah, that was the first week and a half of that was terrible.
But that was awful.
But I did it.
You do it, and you do it again.
Yeah, I'd do it again. If tattooing didn't support me like it did during COVID. I can't let them flounder. I can't let them suffer. I've got to find something. So I did. And I would do it again. That's a hot take, I guess.
How insane, how fucking insane is it that you had to preface it with that, with this could be a hot take,
because it is a hot take.
It's
How
not
the
on our
fuck is it?
podcast, though.
It is in the world.
I know it is, but that's changing. I believe that is changing.
I really hope it is.
We
And
hope
just
it
like
is,
you
yeah.
saying, happening with men, we get a lot of emails coming in now, women saying, I used to be that fuck all men, I can do this by myself. Like, I really do agree with you that there is a resurgence of traditional family values coming back.
Should be. The traditional family values are what built this country.
Yeah.
Right.
That's going to sound real 1776ish, but
We're here for that. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Traditional values are good, believe it or not. And I'm not talking about going home and beating your wife after you've had whiskeys at the bar all night long. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about do what you have to do to support your family and stop being so damn proud.
You know that the people that come from other countries that create generational wealth, the first generation that they're here, are people who come from countries that make less than $2,000 a year as like an annual income. And they come here and they get a entry-level job somewhere and then get a second job and a third job and then take those 3 jobs and get an apartment and then start their own thing. And by the time they've been here for around a decade, they have more wealth than the average American does because they're used to not having an opportunity. And they come here and fucking thrive.
Oh, well, they know what it's like to be broke.
Right. That's exactly it.
They know what it's like to starve. They know what it's like to not know where they're going to get their food the next day. And even though there are people in the U.S. right now that go through the same thing, we still have programs. People think that the United States is terrible. There are still programs for all these people. I understand that not everybody can get those programs. I get that. So this is just a generality.
Right.
Those people know what it's like. You ever been outside of the U.S.? Like, come talk to me about how bad it is until you go outside of the U.S. This place is beautiful compared to some of these places that you could go to.
Reason I brought that up is because you said you weren't too proud to work at McDonald's, that you will take any job that you can take to take care of your family, where we get emails from people who are like, he can't keep a job for more than 2 months and he hasn't worked for 6 months because he can't find a job. And then we get other emails. We got one from somebody who had the same job for 17 years and got laid off. And it's been 3 years since he's worked because he wasn't willing to take an equal paying or lesser paying job. And my brain doesn't work that way. I won't quit a job unless I have another job lined up and I'm working my full 2 weeks and starting the day that my 2 weeks ends. Like, there's not going to be a gap. That 2 week gap could really fuck up your income. You don't know how things are going to progress, especially if you're in a sales or a customer service field. It's just crazy to me.
A 2 day gap can ruin plans that we might have. You know what I mean? If I have a no call, no show one day, which today I did, it can ruin plans that you might have had, you know? Being a tattoo artist, you know, people think that we're living in the lap of luxury, and we're just, I mean, I make good money, but I'm not, you know, Richie Rich over here, which they think I am. But so one day where I didn't make any money ruins the plans for this weekend, because we very much live, you know, pretty close to day to day, paycheck to paycheck, if you want to call it that. We get paid daily, but paycheck to paycheck or whatever. I do have savings, but it's, you know, once it's savings, it's savings.
Right. It's emergency money.
You're not allowed to touch it, right? So I act like it doesn't exist. And so if I'm like, okay, well, Saturday I have this coming in and I'll have enough money, we can go to whatever, the amusement park or whatever. If that person doesn't come in, we ain't going to the amusement park.
How does that affect you
The
when that happens?
It's just disappointment. But I also
A disappointment and an acceptance. Like,
I moved through it because it's not your fault. I know he didn't do it on purpose.
Sometimes it's worse than other times. Like if it's something that's real big. One year it was we were going to go to Disney.
That one was hard.
Oh,
That one was real hard.
We were going to go to Disney, and ended up being way more expensive than I had thought it was going to be, and I pulled the plug on it. Now, I felt bad for pulling the plug on it, but it was just too much, and it wasn't something that we were going to be able to do. We could have afforded it, but we would have suffered for a month and a half afterwards. And did I need everybody in the household to suffer, and which in turn makes me suffer? Because then I'm worried about it. If I'm not providing, then I'm worried about it. Even if it's something that we both agreed upon, in the back of my head, I'm still going, well, you should have just made that up. If I felt bad for pulling the plug, and I still do, like I still feel bad for that. But anyways, back to that. If somebody no calls, no shows, we're out of luck. You know what I mean? It's the way it is. I don't know where I was going with that. Sometimes I get to saying stuff and I just go off on this tangent.
Oh, yeah.
We call that derailing.
Oh,
do.
man, I'm off.
We do that shit all the time.
I'm going somewhere, and then I don't remember where I started at.
Yeah.
I know it's not, when you have to change plans, it's not done to hurt us. So,
Doesn't make it suck any less.
no, I mean, it sucks, but we find other ways. There's quality time to be made at home. There's things that we can do at home. They're just not Disney, but it doesn't mean...
We're not going to Disney anyway. They don't like
No, we
autistic
changed our
kids.
mind. During COVID, they had a lot of anti-autism programs in place that made me realize what they were and
What?
how much they affected Jeffrey. He couldn't wear masks, and they had zero empathy or understanding for
And this
it.
was after
After,
all
yeah.
the craziness was going
Oh,
down.
really?
They
The
didn't care.
state was open. Nobody was wearing masks anymore, and Disney was like, no.
That's because they're owned by a company in California.
Yeah, they're like, no, we don't care. And we're like, well, he can't wear a mask. He's special needs. You know, even if he could wear a mask, that mask could make him have a seizure. And they're like, we don't care.
And at that point, we thought he had asthma. He has some type of breathing disorder, but it's not asthma. We've ruled that out. So I was like, this is a really big deal. Can I provide doctor's information? They just did not care at all. So that Disney's not going to be for us. I no longer support companies that are that anti my son.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not companies that are anti your son either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really figured we'd be really into the tattoo conversations, and this has just been a...
Yeah.
Yep. Because I enjoy having like thought-provoking conversations, but I know he and I agree on so much that like it's nice to hear my thoughts
reverberated back
coming
to
back
you.
at me.
Things that we don't agree on for sure, but
Yeah.
like they're few and far between. But I think that like I have a wee bit more empathy than he has
Yes,
when
you
it
do.
comes to the normal everyday person.
Yeah.
So like I believe things that he doesn't necessarily believe. So it is what it is, especially in the tattoo world when it comes to like apprenticeships and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I don't-
what?
Like you believe that you need to have an apprenticeship. You got to do that. I don't care.
I actually don't believe that.
Okay, well that's the thing I thought we were going to disagree with.
Okay, so
Back to the drawing board.
knowing that you and I are both self-taught, I didn't have a tattoo apprenticeship.
Yeah.
I had a body piercing apprenticeship that lasted 2 weeks. And by the time I was 2 weeks into my apprenticeship, I knew more than my mentor did because I was a part of a very large body modification community. I had already done suspensions. I had already done scarification. I had already done tongue purifications. Like I had already done heavy modifications before I got my piercing apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And I was 2 weeks in, and I watched my mentor pierce a septum with a pair of sponge forceps. Yeah, I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, piercing the septum. I'm like, that's not what you use for that. He's like, what do you know? And I'm like, I know that you use a receiving tube or septum clamps. Like, you can't cram sponge forceps up someone's nostrils. And you're like, sure you can. Watch. Raw.
Sponge forceps. We're talking about a Pennington, right?
No, we're talking about the big fat ones that people
The
use
one
to
we use
pierce
for
tongues.
tongues.
Oh.
Yeah,
wide
not even the
guys.
little mini Penningtons. A mini Pennington, I could have been like, okay, I could see how that would work. It would fit in there a little more easy than a sponge.
Yeah.
He crammed that fucker up that dude's nose. It distorted his nostrils. The piercing was crooked and all fucked up. So
The grip on the inside of those things,
is-
scraping that
yeah,
tissue.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. But I am self-taught on tattooing. I would rather, you know why I'm hung up on the apprenticeship thing for tattooing? Because people don't understand bloodborne pathogens and cross-contamination. That's why I want people to get an apprenticeship. If you get a bloodborne pathogens course and you are certified and you understand cross-contamination, you can set up a sterile environment almost anywhere. Aseptic, not sterile, aseptic.
Aseptic.
And if you couldn't, you would not be able to do battlefield trauma in a battlefield without the risk of major infections.
Yeah.
We have more knowledge about germs now than ever in history. I'm confident enough that if I had a pair of sterile gloves, I could set up in a dumpster and keep a sterile field because
Yeah.
I know enough about cross-contamination that that's not going to be a problem. The other issue that I have is that when people don't have an apprenticeship and start tattooing out of their house and teaching them themselves, when they get into a studio as an apprentice or as a new artist, they are going to have a very hard time breaking all the bad habits that they taught themselves. And it's so much easier to just teach you once the right way to do something.
Absolutely. I talk about that on TikTok all the time when people come in and they want to know and this, that. And I tell them the same thing. Well, if I can I tell them not to start tattooing if they're planning on getting an apprenticeship.
Right.
Because we don't want to unteach all the bad things that you're doing.
Right.
And it's hard to break habits.
It is.
So it makes the process of teaching you that much harder. It makes it something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know? So
You know how many like world famous tattoo artists are self-taught?
a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
I have no problem with self-taught artists.
So many of them, and yet I still get hate. I get hate from famous people. I
You get hate from
Brandon-
people who are fucking self-taught.
Yeah, I get hate from Brandon Bond. You know, and I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. We'll use the term loosely, famous loosely for Brandon Bond, but
Right.
he is
Known.
Right.
known. Yeah.
This is why I keep telling you that you need a Patreon. Because with your Patreon, you can continue giving that information and get paid for it.
Yeah. Well, I think my problem right now is how do I get them over there? One,
You promote it on TikTok.
right, and then two, like I get it to an extent when you say promote on TikTok. I've been pushing subscriptions so hard on TikTok,
Right.
and it's not really going anywhere.
Because it's TikTok.
Yeah,
So I thought about this a lot today. If I was in your shoes and I was trying to do what you're doing right now, because you just hit what, 12,000, 13,000 on
almost
TikTok?
13,000.
Okay. I would do 1 day a week where you take 3, maybe 4 submissions for a critique, like you were doing the other day. I would do it that day, make it known that you're doing it that day, have people email you, and when they email you, then you hit them with the Patreon email back. I've already picked the 3 or 4 people I'm going to do this week. Here's a link to my Patreon. Patreon access gets you, I do more breakdowns than just the 3 a week on Patreon. Patreon members get special access to drawings, questions, blah, blah, blah. You have more access to me. You could create a Discord channel if you wanted to. It's kind of a fucking lot to keep up with, especially when you get over 100 people. Like it becomes a nightmare. Yeah. But if you're doing 3 to 4 critiques on whatever day you decide to do that, and then push Patreon really fucking hard and be like, all right, guys, if I didn't do your thing and you want a critique for your tattoos, join Patreon. Once you get into Patreon, we can go ahead and go that route.
And then how do I share that with them? Like I'm doing the one-on-ones on TikTok, but on Patreon, like how am I'm going to have to go live somewhere, like FaceTime them or something. You know what I mean? So is that where
you won't have to
from? You know what I mean?
You won't have to FaceTime them. You can set up YouTube lives where you do YouTube's. Hang on a second. So what I was saying is you can do individual lives so that you could go live on YouTube. Well, you have to get to 1,000 people.
Yeah. That's rough.
There's ways to do that through Patreon, that you can do lives through Patreon. You could even there's a way to do it. I promise you there's a way to do it. I just might have to look into it. But I would do that, or even have them submit the photo via email, make the video, and then just upload it to Patreon.
Yeah.
Because then you can upload it directly to the Patreon video. That could also help you get your YouTube channel going so that you can start making YouTube videos. There's a lot of revenue. You're doing the work. You understand the technical side of what's happening right now to an extent. And with the amount of work that you're putting in, I truly believe that you're probably leaving $5,000 to $10,000 a month off the table. No bullshit. I truly believe that if you kept doing what you were doing, added Patreon, and started working the YouTube angles because you're already doing what you're doing, easily $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
I liked the do a couple a week. That's a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
Do a couple a week and then spend a couple hours Sunday or Monday doing Patreon stuff.
I just have I have a hard time, I guess, sorting it out in my head on how it's supposed to go down, right? So I have a hard time figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing, when I'm supposed to be doing it, and to be 100%, I get so flustered because I have no idea what's going on, and I'm always preaching, even on TikTok, to learn one thing at a time. One thing. If I'm trying to do 10 different things all at once, I'm going to get flustered and I'm going to get irritated at it, and I'm not going to want to do it. And if I don't want to do it, then there's no passion there. And if there's no passion there, then nobody's going to buy it. You know what I mean? So,
well, with Patreon, it's not a matter of passion. You're already doing it. The only thing that you would be doing differently is that you're going to run it through a website that you get revenue monthly for. And you can set your own tiers. You could even set up, if you wanted to do a Discord, you could do a live, you can run video calls through Discord or even Zoom. If you wanted to do FaceTime with people, you could Zoom call and actually critique while they're doing shit. Like you could do a lot through Patreon, dude. Yeah. Like if you really wanted to, you could telehealth fucking apprenticeship style shit. Like you could have somebody be like, I'll sit with you for 2 hours on a tattoo for $500.
Yeah.
And they could set up their shit and start tattooing, and you could give them ideas while they're tattooing and try to walk them through shit. Obviously, you're not physically there, but if you did one of those a week, that's $2,000 a month, and it took what, 8 hours?
Right. Yeah, and I'd want to cross that over, and I think that's another thing that kind of bothers me a little bit too. So I would want other people seeing it happen. If I'm doing it in private, aka through Discord or through the Patreon, then the rest of whatever it's TikTok or YouTube or whatever it is I'm using, they don't see that happening.
Sure they do. You record it through OBS, download Adobe Premiere, and then run the video through Premiere and take clips. So if you record for 2 hours and you cut that down into 1 minute, 10-second episodes, because you got to be over a minute to monetize TikTok, you cut that 2 hours, 120 minutes down into 1 minute, 10-second episodes, and you get 30 clips. You then post those 30 clips throughout the week. You've now monetized TikTok. You've monetized Patreon. You've monetized whatever you're charging to do these things. And all of the work is that initial 2 hours minus the clipping.
Yeah.
And that's something that, if you had downtime during the day, you could do, or you could even get one of your kids to do it because it's super fucking easy to clip.
Just clip off.
You can even run it through an AI program.
Well, see, I don't know none of that.
Yeah.
So you can see why it's daunting. Right?
But I have people that can help you with that. Zach said that he would completely set up your Discord if you wanted. My producer AJ could show you how to run the AI thing. Like he's doing AIs for our clips for TikTok. All of our shorts, for YouTube, are AI generated. All of the clips that we post on TikTok, I have people in Discord watching the content and going, okay, this is a cool clip, this is a cool clip, this is a cool clip, and they timestamp it. And then I just pull up the file, pull up the video, create the clips, put it in a folder, upload it to Drive, and we download them every day and put them on TikTok. and try to make them as triggering as possible because people will see that shit and go, what the fuck? And then go watch the video and be like, oh, it's not that bad.
Triggering, make it, yeah.
Yep. So
Something that's legit a hot take and not my
Yep.
false hot take.
clickbait. It works. I'll even sometimes give false information, like give a fake stat.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah,
Just so
to
that
get people going.
Yeah, and
get 'em going.
after I make the export of the video and I put it on Google Drive for our clippers to clip everything, I'll then go in and put the proper text over top of it, like I just made a mistake, and stick it on YouTube. So I corrected myself on the video, but I have the wrong clips to create arguments on TikTok.
Yeah,
It works.
Smart.
yeah.
People get so fucking heated. This stat is only half correct. I'm like, hee hee hee.
That was the worst evil laugh I've ever heard in my life.
It's not. It's just, yeah. I enjoy it. Yeah.
It's like a little Teletubby laugh.
Right. That was
Posted
fun.
a TikTok today saying that it's a blanket statement. Gaslighting.
Oh,
So that was a blanket statement, posted it on TikTok today. Like, just be direct.
yeah.
Say, like, for example, I know this happened. Other people witnessed it happen. You are trying to make it seem as if I'm making this up. I'm not crazy. People call that gaslighting, but that also means a plethora of other things. Blanket statement. That pisses people off.
Yeah. I'm sure your comment section's having a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I had that TikTok video. It's blowing up, bro.
Yeah. You're 133.7 when I looked at it earlier.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just for your gray washes.
Just for the gray washes, and that's only a gray wash. I mean, it's how I make my gray wash every time, but it's not how I use it every time.
Right.
I think that was something that people were missing when somebody gives you how you do your gray wash. And it's a question that I asked a lot was, okay, that's how you do your gray wash, but which ones do you use the most, right? And so I put that in there, that this is the one I use the most. You know, people got in there and was like, why don't you just put them in order? I'm like, did you watch the video?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So many people were in there. Like,
There's people that see that and just goes, these numbers are off, and went right to the comments. Why aren't these in order?
Yeah.
Yep. That kind of shit goes a long way, and I think that's the kind of shit that needs to be on Patreon.
yeah.
And like explaining how much of which of your washes you use the most makes a lot of sense, because we do black and gray different. I build my black and grays like I'm painting.
Yeah.
So like there are times if I'm doing a large black and gray piece, I'll lay all my midtones and light tones down and let it heal.
Yeah.
And then have them come back, and I'll lay all my blacks and then my midtones again, so that I don't do it very often because I haven't been doing large pieces in a while, but whenever I would do sleeve work, I would do all my midtones and lights to completion.
Yeah.
And then I'd have one final sit where they'd come in and I would cover the entire arm with black to make it where I wanted my darknesses to be. But most people don't understand that you can do that. Some people just want to go super hard in the black. Oh, it'll just heal. And you use a lot of black when you tattoo, but you know how to work the ink.
Yeah.
And most people don't know how to do that. So like,
It's all about my hands. Yeah.
Right, but
I'm always preaching that.
those kind of conversations would do really well on TikTok, especially for young tattoo artists.
On Patreon.
What did I say? TikTok? Patreon. Yeah, Patreon. Because there's a lot of tattoo artists out there who have mentors who are answer the phones, clean the lobby, sit down, shut the fuck up, and I'll let you tattoo when you tattoo.
Right.
We've seen it. I've seen it my entire career.
Yeah.
So,
I see it too. You know, it's in my TikTok all the time.
yeah.
The people are always telling me, I mean, I've learned more from you in the last week than I've learned from my 2-year-long apprenticeship. And I'm just like,
Dude, can you imagine? Like, I don't think that it would ever take that long to really apprentice somebody. Like, if they're doing the work, 2 years is a long fucking time
it's
to
a
get them
long
going.
time. And I had one girl in there that was saying hers was 2 years, and her person or mentor was saying it was going to be another 2 years. And I was like, you need to get out of that place now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That dude is taking you for a ride. He's trying to get free labor out of you, and he doesn't care if you learn or you don't. There's no reason whatsoever that should take that long. Some people learn slower than others, but if you can't learn how to tattoo in 2 years, you don't need to be doing it.
I agree. Do you have any other relationship question stuff that we should be asking before we really delve into this tattoo thing?
Relationship question.
Why you think I'm going to ask another question?
Okay, you do that. I'm going to ponder.
If you had the ability to do 1 hour a day of just you time for self-care, what would you do?
I honestly have no idea anymore. I really don't.
You don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Angie.
We talk about that sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's
Do you like plants?
I don't like the spiders that come with plants.
I get
tried
that.
that.
Tried that.
Okay.
We tried that. Any whim she gets to make her feel a little bit better,
Yeah.
I go
He really does
balls
try.
deep. trying to do that. You want to learn how to knit? Bet me I don't buy so much crap.
much
It
knitting
just
shit.
sits in the.
Wait, do you have knitting stuff now?
Oh, yeah.
I knit.
We
Can
have
I
a
buy it off
hoard
of you?
Of
Yeah,
knitting
you
stuff,
can- you
little
can
things
have
that you
it.
make, and it makes the balls. And she's got fancy knitting wands or whatever they are.
Why did you quit that?
Jeffrey. That's where I ran into that. I didn't have enough time, and it takes thought process, and
It
he's always
does.
and forever needing certain things.
Yeah.
The
And
kids
so she'll
always
get into
need
it,
something right in
and
the
then
middle
the
of it.
second she gets into that zone, here comes a kid in there
Yeah.
with poop in his hands or something.
That does happen.
I believe that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
Is there like, does he sleep through the night?
He's working on it.
He's working on that.
Yeah.
I
it
get
translates
it.
to no.
Yeah.
I get that.
Translation: I don't want to paint him out to be a horrible child. He's not a
No,
horrible
he,
so
child,
sweet.
he has a hard time.
but that
he
kid
does.
does
He gets
not
up
sleep.
and wanders. So I have to be really, really careful, make sure all the doors are locked and things, because his favorite thing right now is to open our screen door and go sit on our trampoline out on the little lanai 2-3 o'clock in the morning and just count his change. I don't know what's out there.
Counting his change.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
loves money.
He loves money. So
Change.
I'm obsessed with your son.
There's probably $300 worth of change just rolling around our house somewhere
In my
because he's got a little
car.
pink piggy bank, and in the car and in my car, he's a little pink piggy bank, and he carries his change around and plays with it around his nose and smells it, and then he puts them in one by one, then he dumps them out, puts them in one by one, dumps them out over and over and over and over again.
That sounds. He
It's
sounds
super
like he's
cute.
just living his best life.
is.
Yeah.
He
I
absolutely
would
is.
really enjoy sitting on a trampoline at 3 o'clock in the morning, doing my favorite thing. Hell yeah.
He
I
loves
get
it.
that. He is a minor. That's terrifying.
No,
Not condoning.
for sure. It is for
Yeah.
him because he doesn't know better.
And
So
the
yeah,
crazy animals we have in Florida.
yeah, I'm always
Like, I
afraid
ain't
something's
trying to
gonna come
have-
in there and get
Right.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, your porch is screened in though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's a screen. I don't think that's gonna stop a cougar from getting in there. You know what I mean?
You guys see a lot of cougars? Where you're
Yeah,
at?
no.
We
They're
did
here.
We did. I don't know that it was a cougar. It was a large animal.
It was a very
in our
large
Yeah,
backyard.
cat.
that would be enough for me.
Probably
Yeah.
a bobcat.
Yeah, it was a very large cat, and that cat could have taken that kid
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
into the woods.
And then there's also that he likes to hit the screens sometimes, and my fear is that he might go out. He loves water, be drowned.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fear in that part. So
You guys have a fenced in yard?
no, that's what. So
Yeah.
I mean, we learned to lock the door, but it still freaks me out if a kid leaves it open.
Are you guys able to take him to like playgrounds and shit? Does he do well with other kids?
He doesn't care about other kids. He likes the other adults that are there, and he loves the playgrounds in general. But he doesn't handle heat very well. So that's
yes.
why Florida's really
Gotcha.
hard. We can do like 15 minutes to 30 minutes normally.
any place that's got a lot of adults in it, we try to avoid because he likes to kiss people, right? And he wants to kiss you. And the problem is he's only about crotch high. So
Yeah.
you can do the math, right?
People
Yeah.
don't handle that well. And the
No.
older he gets, the less understanding and the less compassionate people are. I've almost had fisticuffs with some people over him because he isn't meaning bad, but people are no longer empathetic
Yeah.
towards him
Yeah.
and his condition.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely
No, yeah,
not.
people are terrible.
People are assholes to him.
To
Oh,
him, yeah.
That infuriates me.
We've had people
Terrible.
scream at him in front of me, and let me just tell you, I'm going to jail one day.
You know that
That-
Florida's a constitutional carry state now, right?
yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad.
Yeah, which is wild because I went through all that to get a concealed carry, and then there's like, you know what? They're Oprah of concealed carry here.
So
And you get one and you get one.
with that, in the event that you get into a pew with somebody, if you have yours and they don't have theirs in terms of the concealed carry, you have a leg up in court.
Oh yeah.
So it's good that you have it.
Oh well, there you go. I don't
Yeah,
have a
you can-
gun, but I have it.
I do.
She does.
Okay, good.
She does. I keep saying I'm going to go buy a handgun, but one, I don't know what I'm supposed to get. Okay, I know how to use it and how to be safe with it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be buying, so I haven't done it. And then two, like, I ain't trying to spend the money on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
They're expensive, and
Yep.
you got a hard enough time. Like, I thought she was going to fall over dead when I went and bought all that camera stuff because I was just like, put
It's
it on the
a real
car.
hard
Let's
time
do this.
spending
Let's go. And because I don't buy anything, I'm
Right.
not buying it, right? But I was really into that. I really, really wanted to make that TikTok stream awesome. And so I was like, whatevs. Now, none of it's going to work, and you can't use OBS on TikTok anymore, so that's dead in the water. But I took it all back. I got my money back. But I don't spend money on myself.
Yeah.
I just don't. So it's very rare.
Well, it takes money to make money, and you
Yeah.
can't do a job if you don't have the tools.
Yeah.
So
This is,
Consistently saying this. It's okay to invest in yourself.
and I want to do the job if I don't have a family.
Hey, Angie, I'm going to tell you to take your own advice and do some self-care.
ew.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bit me, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
You guys don't realize that the self-care is correlated to the intimacy in the home. Because the more self-care you do, the less burnt out you're going to feel.
Yeah. She was just telling me when we were coming here, like legitimately right when we were coming here, she was like, you don't take care of yourself. I was like,
This conversation.
you don't take care of yourself. You need to take more care of yourself.
What did you mean by that? Because there's always an underlying I'm fuck put you in a hot
Like,
chair.
does he need more sleep? Does he need to
All
do more
of it.
thing for himself?
You're medically.
I'm fat,
I
right?
did not say that. That
I'm
was
fat.
not a part of my conversation.
I'm legitimately like fat, okay? Cholesterol's high or what have you. And then I had some blood pressure problems and it was pretty scary.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, and I don't sleep. So it's pretty much all of it. But
He has sleep apnea and refuses to go get the test because he doesn't want to stay overnight to do the sleep test.
Oh,
so there's
I get
a lot
that.
of things that you should do to.
we don't have health insurance, right? So all that comes out of pocket.
Right.
And all that takes away from the family. All
Wouldn't
of
you
it.
dying take away from the family?
Wouldn't it? Right.
Right, yeah.
But that's a game that you play, isn't it?
Ooh, a little gambling
It's a
situation.
little gambling game. Am I going to
Alright.
die tomorrow?
Let's fuck around.
Probably
find
not.
out.
But if I neglect it for 15 more years, are they going to be happy?
Yeah, kids will be grown, moved out.
Yeah. Kids will be grown, moved out. I'll have more disposable income. Maybe by that time, one of these little social media adventures takes off and I can afford the health care.
You know that this is why women live longer than men.
That's what they say. Yep.
No, it is.
I know
Because
that's what
we
they say.
work ourselves to fucking death to provide for our families. We should. We put ourselves in high risk positions. We don't take care of our bodies the way that we're supposed to take care of our bodies.
Physically or emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
I don't do that.
Don't do what?
Any of that.
I do.
What, neglect or pay attention?
Both.
That's why I need clarification.
I work out.
Did you ever hear that song by that band with the dude with the afro and they wore those leopard leotards?
The week? No, not the weekend. Oh my goodness.
I think it's like Sexy and I Know It.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I work out.
Yeah, I know that's why you laughed at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I asked that question though is because there's always an underline. If a woman says to you, you work too much, it's not that you're working too much, it's that they miss you.
Yeah.
And they want you to be home more.
Ooh, or could it be that they miss who you were when you weren't working so many hours?
Could be.
Just like the personality.
Could be.
Not even the time has changed.
It could be. But there's always a root. And we know
Yeah.
that because when you really have those conversations with people and you delve into it, why is it that you feel like he's never home enough? They always tell you, well, I just want to see him more. I want to spend more time. Or when he's home, he's not present. Yeah. And we know that that's not the case because of the conversation that we've been having. But why would you tell him that he needs to take care of himself? Is it just because of the medical things? Is there a fear there that you're going to lose him? Like,
That's mine. Is my fear is he says, "Can I push it off for 15 years?" I'm not willing to say 15 years is good enough for me.
Yeah.
I need a lot longer. So I need.
We'll put her on the hot seat because when we got married, she only gave me 37 years.
That's not what I said.
That is what she said.
But I said.
I'm gonna need an elaboration.
yeah, same. Yeah. You
What was it like? You got 37 years and we're
I said no.
Yeah, it was something like that. We're driving down the road and she's just talking, right?
Okay,
and I don't
babbling.
know why. We're just babbling along. And she's like, "You're gonna be with me for at least the next 37 years." And I'm like, "37 years is
Just
the
a
cutoff."
number.
very specific.
So
yeah.
I bother her about that all the time.
So how much time you got left?
Well, we've been 10 years, so I got 27 years
August.
left.
Were you expecting him to remember that?
No. It was like, it's just a number.
That's funny.
Pay attention. I remember things. I got a weirdest brain. I'll remember the most ridiculous stuff and forget the things that are important. I don't know why. I think it's the things that like fog my brain or make me anxious. I push off to the side and I'm just like, meh.
Oh, I get that.
I do it all the time.
I remember the things that tickle me. Like that green frog with blue eyes. Or no, it was a lizard that we saw at the gardens. Oh, he was gorgeous.
Yeah, his eyes were cloudy like that because he just shed or
What
was
was
getting
that?
ready to.
What was that
Yeah.
frog you seen last night? What was it called? The little white and blue frog. Oh my god, it was so
Little
cute.
blue fingers. It was so cute.
Yeah.
It was a cloud frog. yeah.
Cloud frog. Yeah, man. Oh my god, look them up. They're
was
so,
so
crazy
cute.
looking.
I am going to look him up.
You know how earlier you said that you have a lot more empathy for people than I do.
Yeah.
I don't. And I read something the other day that says I have survivor syndrome because I survived a lot of abuse and did my life. But I am the exception to the rule. And I know that I'm the exception to the rule, but because I have survivor syndrome, my cognitive bias is viewed through survivor syndrome. If I can fucking do this, anyone can do this. And that's not true.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of I've had a lot of failures, and I've learned from my failures, and I didn't let that stop me. And I took all of the negative nonsense and all of the you're too fucking stupid, you're not good enough as an artist, you can never do this, you didn't graduate high school, you're going to be a fucking dope dealer the rest of your life. And I took all of that shit and I used it as fuel to push me. Where most people will be beat down like that and take that and destroy their self-esteem, their self-worth, and quit. I am the exception to the rule in that I think I'm like 1 in like 30 people that can actually utilize that as fuel and go. A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think I can't. Right? I do what I do because I have to, or because I feel that I have to, or think
Right.
I'm supposed to, whatever you want to call that. I don't know, but I don't say, oh well, you said. I can't say I say that either because I do that. I do that. Okay, maybe I don't consciously do that. I don't consciously use it to move forward, but I do know that if it comes up, I'm like, do you know what I've done? You know what I mean?
That.
You know, do you know? You don't know where I've lived. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the Eminem, you don't know what the fuck I've been through, and they don't. You know?
Yep. My biggest thing is every time I've wanted to do something and someone has told me that it's not possible, I'm like, here we fucking go. Watch me.
Yeah. So that's another thing, though. That's another one part of my empathy thing. You know, where I'm just like, you don't know what the fuck I've been through. I use that same logic in reverse for other people. I can see that I don't understand what they've been through. I understand that. So let's just use like people that are panhandling for an example here. I don't care.
You have.
I was homeless for 3 years.
Yeah, I was homeless for a little while, not 3 years, but for a little while when I was real young.
Yeah.
But if I see somebody panhandling, I'm giving them money, right, or food or whatever, and I get people that are like, they're just going to use it for drugs, or they're just
gives
going to
a
use it
shit?
for
Right,
booze.
and-
First off, I don't care what they use it for. Do not care. Secondly, I don't know. And then you, if they're going to do that or not. If that $5, $10, or whatever it is I gave that person feeds them for that day, or it doesn't, I don't care.
Right.
Because I don't know, and I can't pretend that I do. So many people are like, well, they should get a job. First off, you don't know what put them there in the first place. How do you know that that man sitting on the corner over there didn't just lose his whole family in a house fire or something horrific, and it caused him to snap, and this is what he has now? You don't know. Stop acting like you do. Not everybody lives the same life you live. Not everybody goes down the same path that you're going down. Right. We all go down different paths, and just because their path isn't the same as yours doesn't make you better than them. Stop acting like you are. That's the same complaint I have for all the uppity tattoo artists that think they're better than you because they learned doing an apprenticeship or whatever they did, had to make needles. And dude, you're not fucking special. Stop. You know? That stuff gets me fired up, bro. It really does, because I have so much empathy for these people without ever knowing their story.
Right. In that scenario, because I've lived that, I've worn clothes that I took out of a dumpster.
Yeah.
Like I've eaten out of a garbage can for months on end. Like I did the panhandling thing. I was homeless for a long fucking time. So I have that empathy. And I also, it's funny though, because I won't give money to panhandlers. If they're standing on the corner with a sign, that's a hustle. And I know that because we did it. I am very apt to walk up to somebody that I can clearly tell is homeless at 7-Eleven and be like, here's $100, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know. But because I've lived that life, I understand it. But there are things that like my lack of empathy starts with the victim mentality. When I'm having a conversation with someone and I hear them saying words like, I can't, no one ever did for me, like, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. I have no empathy for that. That's where that cutoff comes from. I'm not doing shit for you because you have this pity me, the world owes me mentality. I don't have sympathy at all for that, because even when I was fucking homeless, I did it. It sucked. I took accountability for why I was homeless. It was my fucking fault.
Yeah.
But like, there was never like, if only somebody gave me help, I wouldn't be here right now. I never had that mindset, and my empathy stops with a victim mentality.
Yeah.
I have no patience for that.
I don't, the victim mentality, I guess if you're not trying to do any better, or if you're whatever, even then, I don't know. I think the point for me is I don't know.
Right.
And there's been times, one time we went to the Tampa Aquarium, and there was some guy panhandling, right? And part of me was like, there's no way this guy's hungry. There's no way he's homeless or whatever. And I just gave him a couple dollars, and that dude ran straight to the gas station and got a water and a little pack of donuts, just enough for what he had. And that instantly I knew this guy actually needs this. And we spun around and I gave him a buttload more money. I gave him like $160. But my first initial instinct was, he's playing me.
Right.
But if he's not, I'm just going to give him a little bit. Maybe it'll help him. And he definitely wasn't playing me. So I don't allow myself to make that distinction anymore. Whether you're playing me or you're not. If you're playing me, kudos to you. You won, my guy.
Right.
But if you're not playing me and I helped you eat today, or I helped you, I don't know, get a sleeping bag or whatever it is that I helped you do, then I'm happy for that. I don't need to know. I don't need the justification or the gratification to know that I did it or not. It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't allow myself to make that decision anymore because I don't know.
Do you think that that ability to give and have the empathy on that level comes from the fact that you are not in that position? Like you've been broke.
Yeah.
You said it, you've been broke. So you have the empathy for the people because you know what it's like to be there. If you were not doing financially okay, and like let's say you guys actually did the Disney trip.
Yeah.
And you were in a month-long period where you were super fucking tight on money, would you have still given in that situation, or would you have walked past?
Yeah.
Would have given.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'd have given.
We just wouldn't have been able to give as much.
Right, because I see it differently than most people see it. I have a good life. I'm not, living, again, in a mansion, or nothing like that. But I don't want for much. And if we're tight on money, it's because my brain has told me we are.
Right.
Right? So I can see that I'm living better than they are. You know what I mean? And since I can see that, I understand and I can take from mine and give to them, because if you can, you should.
Right. I agree with that.
And too many people don't see it that way. They don't see it. Well, they didn't work for it. It's mine. Right. Where did this come from? Where did the idea that you shouldn't love your fellow person come from? It's pride. It's ego. We're better than you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because somebody lives in $1 million house does not make you better than me.
Yep. Say shit all the time. Mm-hmm. You could be a multimillionaire and still be a piece of shit human
Absolutely, being. You can be, and most of the time they are.
Yeah.
You can't say all the time, because I'm sure that there are some millionaires that are just the nicest people on the planet. But for the most part, I would assume that they're egotistical, terrible people. That's my experience. Never met a millionaire that was who's that? Oh well,
you tattoo a few.
Okay, let's go multi-millionaires.
Just gonna keep crapping on.
Oh yeah, I do tattoo that one millionaire, don't I?
Yeah.
I tattoo some millionaire guy. He's a millionaire from crypto. Mm-hmm. He still does crypto, and he makes millions of dollars. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Either way, if you can, you should. Right. And if it's gonna put me out a little bit, like, okay, cool, I don't get to eat out one time this week.
Right.
What is that $20 really going to change? Is it going to make or break me? If the answer is no, then it's his or hers. If the answer is yes, this $20 shorts me on rent and they're going to kick me out, then I'm sorry, mine comes first. But if I have it and it isn't going to kill me, then it's theirs. I don't care. It's not. That's why I'll never be like uber rich. I say it all the time. If I had $50 million just fall on my lap tomorrow, the day after, I'd only have 2 left because I'd give it all away.
Yeah. Yeah, we would definitely do a lot. We do a lot of shit behind the scenes, and like you know that we adopt the families at Christmas time, and we do the school runs. But I donate $3,000 to $5,000 a year to pit bull rescues.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple of them that I'm very familiar with. We do lots of. I mean, not for nothing. I donate to a lot of stupid things that it's not stupid to me, but to other people, be like, I can't believe you just gave all that money away. We adopted a stranger at Christmas time off TikTok.
Yeah, I was talking about that the other day on TikTok.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about Toys for Tots, and I said that you adopt a family, and I was like, he goes ham.
Yeah. Well, we normally do 2 families, but sometimes we'll get sob stories, and like I just can't. I don't know. There's been years where we've bought not just the gifts, but the Christmas tree and the ornaments and the lights, and like I get update emails from that chick because her daughter was 6 at the time. She's in high school now.
Yeah.
So like I've gotten life updates from this chick because she was a domestic violence survivor and was living at her brother's house with 2 kids, and like the oldest kid who had moved out messaged the shop like, hey, I see you're trying to adopt a family. My youngest sister is about to have her 6th Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And they don't even have a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And I met her at Home Depot and fucking loaded up her cart with shit and then went to Walmart and we bought her all her shit, bought her a laptop, and I still get life updates from that. I believe that my hardships have put me in a place financially now to be able to give back. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm in the position to do it. I feel like I've been burned so much in life that like there's got to be some sort of balance. You know what I mean? And like even with all of the burns that I've gotten, and like a lot of them, a lot of the bad shit that's happened, and the amount of money that I've lost, I have always fucking bounced back from it.
Yeah.
And I think the bounce back comes from the good karma, if you want to call it that, or the looking out that I've done to the universe that's been able to make me recover. We almost lost everything from the storm.
Or the fact that you just don't think anybody owes you anything.
No, nobody owes me nothing.
Right. So that helps you. Like if I'm going to say lend something to somebody, I don't lend
Me either.
things. I just don't. If I'm going to give it to you, it's yours. You know, I don't expect to get it back. If you expect to get it back, you're going to end up getting your feelings hurt. So you should never. I never do that, dude, and I don't expect anything in return. Like if I do something nice for you, if I come over, whatever, I hung the lights up in the man cave or whatever it is I'm doing, I don't expect you to reciprocate that. I don't need you to do me a favor. Whereas most people, if you
owe me one,
There's a little tally book.
yeah, I thought for a second you were like, you owe me one. I was like, what you talking about? Because I do play by that game.
Right.
I don't expect other people to, but I do.
Right. Well, and you're also one of the few people who have actually gotten over on me on the buying dinner thing.
Ooh, bet. I'm good at that game.
But we talk about this on the podcast constantly, which is why I've wanted to get you on here. Dude, I'm telling you, like, I know that you think we disagree heavily on a lot of things. I don't think we do.
Yeah.
I think that for the most part, you and I have very similar standpoints on everything. And the things that we do disagree on, fundamentally, we will have a base agreement. And it's why we can have the conversations and disagree and it be okay.
Yeah.
So
I was really hoping we had some disagreements that were going to happen. I don't know why, but
because it's entertaining.
Yeah, I thought it would be entertaining to come in here and you're like, no, bro, I love you. And I'm like, God damn it.
I think that I don't know, dude. It's nice to hear all of this, and it solidifies everything that I've said, and like the need to work to provide, and like that being the duty, and the giving, because you know what it is to not have shit. Like there's and in not keeping score. We talk about not keeping score constantly. People do that in their marriage.
Yeah.
They do it in their fucking marriage.
You keep score in games like football and baseball and
but not if you're on
checkers,
the same team.
chess.
Yeah, not if you're on the same team. You're right, yeah. I don't keep score. And she doesn't keep score. You know, it isn't, oh, well, I put the kids to bed yesterday, now it's your turn. We don't do that.
Right.
It's, you know, if she's having a hard day, I put the kids to bed. If I'm having a hard day, she does it. Or we do it together, or it is what it is. There'll be times where I'm the only one doing it for a while, and then there's times where she's the only one doing it for a while.
That's what marriage is, though.
Yeah.
That's what a successful marriage looks like.
Yeah, I'm not pressing upon her if she can't handle it at that point in time or what have you. And I know I can tell if she can't handle it just by the smell. Like I'm outside the house and I'm just like, oh God. Something is going on in that place. There's an eerie quiet. You know what I mean?
Do you guys, when you guys have conflict in the house between the two of you, do you yell at each other?
No.
No. We've had moments.
How does that get prevented?
It's just avoidance until we're both calm.
It's understanding that we both can hurt each other very badly if we wanted to, and loving each other enough not to.
I think we've also both been, this is our second marriage, and I did all the wrong things, and my first husband was just not a good person. So I now know that I need to slow myself down and realize that at the end of the day, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, and I want them to be able to recover from the things that I say. I don't want to say something that's going to hurt him.
Right.
I don't want to say something that's going to damage us weeks later.
And it will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Those comments made offhanded in the heat of a discussion will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
yeah, they last forever. Yeah, and we make it conscious effort to not do it. I'm usually really good at it. Right? There have been known though to not be good at it. There's been times where I've said mean shit and didn't want to say mean shit. You just said it just to stick at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
Little
not the
shake.
right way to do it. And
Yeah.
and you know, we'll have our little things, and then we'll come back to it, and I'll be like, well, I probably shouldn't have said it, and she'll say, I probably shouldn't have said it. And then we go about our business or about our day, you know what I mean? So it's usually a pretty quick bounce back. We're not going to hold it to each other for too terribly long, you know what I mean? Unless, I want to make fun of her for it, which I do.
Yeah. The communication at the end of it, though, is what I think is most
Yeah.
important. Like if he would say something that was mean, or if I say something that's mean because I'm just so frustrated, when I realize I've done it, I always come and I say, hey, I am so sorry. I said that and it was definitely hurtful and I didn't mean it. Here's why I said it. I think that's
Yeah.
important too. I tell him why I said the thing I said, and then
And
we discuss
what?
it.
Why and what? If it's upsetting, I say something upsetting, it's why and what.
Can you elaborate on that?
Don't expect your partner, your wife, or whatever it is, to know what you're upset about. You cannot expect that. Like, I can't be here and just mad and her not know why, and then the whole time I'm like, I'm mad at her, and I think she should know why I'm mad. Just because I think she should know doesn't mean she does.
Right.
And vice versa. Just because she's mad doesn't mean I know why she's mad. So you can't expect that. And we don't. You know what I mean? If she's mad, she tells me why she's mad. It's not always right away, but she will eventually always tell me what I did, what hurt her feelings, or what have you, so that I can fix it. You can't fix it if I don't know. A closed mouth doesn't get fed, and the same thing works here too.
Right. When we get frustrated with each other and we are working through what's going on with us, we don't treat each other differently, first and foremost. Just because we're going through it in the moment, we still try to treat each other with compassion, because we could actually be mad at each other and not understand what the root of the frustration is, and being shitty just to be shitty is not conducive to happiness. So we have a term when we're frustrated with each other. We say we're processing right now. And as soon as we figure out the root, we can have a discussion about it, because otherwise there's a whole bunch of shit on top of it. And we have to unpack the box to get to the actual fucking problem. And during that, you're going to argue about all the shit you're unpacking that's not relevant to what the actual problem is. Because you guys are effective communicators, do you have something like that in your marriage that you are able to say to each other that like explains your process in the moment? Or do you just be like, I'm frustrated right now, leave me alone? Like,
No, I think I just.
he's like, yeah. And you're like,
yeah.
no.
No, I
For me, it
honestly-
is. For me, it
him,
is.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just super frustrated. I just say, I need a minute.
Yeah.
I just need a minute, and I just go on.
Right.
But I don't continue to be mean. Like, I might be quiet. That's the best. I think I'm quiet, and I might huff around a little, but I'm not.
Sulks around. Yeah.
sulk.
She sulks around.
But I don't intentionally try to do additional things to hurt you.
Right. No, she doesn't. She does
I
not.
still
she's-
function. We still function.
Right.
as a
She's not
family.
mad at me and then just, was this wrapper on the floor and she just goes nutty over
And
it.
the kids don't get to
Nothing
see a
like
lot of that
And
either.
kids don't see any of
As
it.
a matter, if you ask our kids, I think honestly we don't have very many actual fights. But if you ask our kids, I think they've only heard us actually argue like 3 times in 10 years.
Now, do you guys do any kind of conflict resolution in front of the kids? Like, if there's actually
yeah.
something going on, you'll work through it
We've
real time in front
disagreed
of them?
in front of
Yeah.
it. They've seen us disagree, but we don't fight like you would expect.
You know how fucking healthy that is for kids to see? Like that shit goes a long fucking way, and it shows them your kids are not going to accept less than what you give them.
Yeah, you're teaching them everything.
Right. So they're going to see this and go, okay, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. And the first time somebody tries to put their hands on them or starts to psychologically abuse them, they're going to be like, this is not what a relationship's supposed to be. And they're going to fucking bounce.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Like, I treat Angie like she is the queen, because she is. She is the most important person aside from the kids in my life. Unfortunately, she doesn't take the pedestal away from the kids, but when it comes to, like, obviously hierarchy, she's higher in the hierarchy than they are, but she's an absolute queen, and they know it. Okay. I make it well known that mom is, the most important person in my life, and that that's never going to change. And I think that will instill that in them too. And I tell them the same thing. I got teenage girls right now. I'm like, if you ever come across a man that doesn't treat you like the way I treat your mother, then you need to run. You need to get away, because if they don't do it right from the jump, they're not going to.
Right. Yeah, you are not going to fucking change somebody to make them do that.
No.
Do you this is a hot button issue.
Oh my.
Who comes first, kids or the spouse?
What do you mean?
In,
Like,
in,
give me an
ter-
example.
in terms of priority, do you prioritize the kids or your partner?
The partner.
Why?
Because she does more. She runs the house. She makes sure that they're fed. She makes sure that they have clothes. She makes sure that they go to the doctor. She runs the show. I do not. I have no say in that. She does it. I mean, I could have say in it. I just choose not to.
Right.
But so she takes priority, right? Like, it's the same way with feeding. Like, when it's time to eat, if I made the food, she eats first, period. If she makes the food, then normally I eat first if I'm home. I'm not always home for that, but she makes it a priority to make sure that I'm the one that gets the plate first. And I don't know, it shows a hierarchy is what it is.
It is. But there's also a love in that. I get fed first. She cooks. That's her job.
Yeah.
I've cooked for you once the entire time we've been together. And when you don't feel like cooking, I'm like, all right, babe, DoorDash, what do you want? Let's go. Run that shit. Like, I'm not cooking. Unless, and if you were like, babe, I want you to cook for me, I would cook for you. But I would.
You probably don't want that to happen.
I would not enjoy myself. I'm actually a really good cook. I don't like the mess that comes with it. It fucks with me.
I don't think he's.
Are you just trying
Prove
to
it.
cook for you?
So he actually makes a really good like sweet potato hash thing.
Yeah.
I like hash.
Yeah. With chorizo like sausage.
Yeah. It's good.
I like hash.
Yeah. I'm glad you do.
He wants you to cook so bad. It's so weird.
Do you guys want to do like a potluck or something?
Do you feel the same way with the spouse over the kids?
Most of the time.
What is the
The
limiting
hang up
factor?
for me is Jeffrey.
Okay.
And that's my problem.
Well, okay, so here's the thought, because I understand why you say that. Without what he does and the relationship that you two have, you would not be in the position that you are to take care of J3 the way that you do.
Absolutely.
So when we say partner over kids, people lose their fucking mind on the internet. Your kid should always be first. I'd never put my kid in front of a man and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you can
disagree
tell me
with
that you've
that.
never had a good relationship.
Yeah.
Tell me that you've never had a proper leader in the home doing the protection and providing thing.
Never had a good example of a relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we break it down to that base level, if the two of you are working together and you're putting each other first, the kids will have a dope fucking life because everything is working as a cohesive family
Yeah, I
unit.
think when you say you're putting the spouse over the kids, that's kind of oversimplifying it. I think.
Are you looking for a reason to argue with me?
No,
Because you do that. You
no,
already
I
do.
already do it, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, what am I actually putting over the kids for her? What am I actually doing? If she was on the edge of a cliff and the kids were on the edge of the cliff, am I going to save a kid or am I going to save her? You know what I mean? And
I
people,
would save her. I could always have more kids.
yeah, people see that.
That was so quick.
I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah,
I would save you because you can help me get the kids.
yeah. So people take that to the extreme. And when I say that I put her first, I mean things like that, like food. And like if she decides that she wants to eat at this restaurant, but the kids want to eat at this restaurant, I don't care where the kids want to eat.
Right.
Or if she wants to go to this park, but the kids want to go to that park, you know what I mean? Then she gets the deciding factor there. Too many people let their kids decide what they're doing in their lives, and that's just setting them up for failure. I think that if you let your kids decide everything and you treat them like they're your friend instead of their child, then when they hit adulthood, they're in for a rude awakening because they're not going to get everything they want every time they want it.
Other than Jeffrey, do you have kids that are just yours that are not his?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, scenario, because this is something that we get a lot of emails on relating to this conversation. If one of your kids had a beef with him and they were arguing back and forth, you two as parents should be a unified front in raising that child.
Oh yeah.
In the event that you took the child's side and were like, fuck you, shut up, don't talk to him or her like that, that is putting the child before the spouse, which breaks up the proper home functioning. And that's normally where I'm going from that.
Okay.
There are extremes, but I really truly believe that at the base of all of it, it should be kids are going to leave. They're going to move out. You're going to have an empty nest at some point. And the time and the effort that you put into your relationship while you're raising your children is what's going to solidify the longevity when they leave. You know, people have their kids move out at 18 to 20 years old and get divorced right afterwards because they were only together for the kids. Like, that's a fucking problem. And those are people who don't put the partner first and don't focus on intimacy and trying to make those things work.
Yes, so we've actually had that scenario quite frequently because we have one of our sons that challenges everyone all the time. And
Teenager?
yeah, he's just starting out. So he challenges
How old is
everyone,
he?
and that's my 14. That's one of my trigger points is if he mistreats Jeff, and it's your trigger point for me too.
Yeah. So people want their kids to be their friends. They want to be their friends.
They want to be liked.
Or liked. I don't care if you like me. I could care less if you like me.
Yep.
Because I promise you one day you're going to love me.
Yeah.
You might not like it right now, but I don't care. And if you don't like me, doesn't matter. Matter of fact, most of the time I prefer them not to like me because I was telling her the other day, I love my kids. Let's preface that again.
Right.
People you think if you're not constantly coddling your kids, you don't love your kids. That's nonsense. But we was talking about the other day, little Jeffrey come up to me and I just kind of boop right on his stomach and he lost it. The funnest thing he's ever done, right? And the reason that is because I don't do it that often.
Right.
And since I don't do it that often, when I do it, it's a treat.
Over the top. For
It's
him,
it's amazing. And it's the same thing for foods and this, that, and the other. Our kids are so, because I work so much and she's dealing with Jeffrey, we eat out a lot. Now, not recently because I've been having some health issues, but we eat out so much that you can take our kids to a fancy steakhouse and it's like they went to McDonald's. But when I was a kid, if we went to McDonald's, it was the most exciting thing on the planet, right?
Getting that Happy Meal.
Oh, word, right?
Yeah.
You're like, we're going to
McDonald's
McDonald's?
Where I'm getting food and a toy.
Is it somebody's birthday?
Right.
You know? But our kids are not like that.
Right.
And they get desensitized to how special something like that is. And so it's the same thing
Right.
when I show affection to the kids. It's the exact same thing. If they think I hate them 90% of the time, when I show that I love them, that love is instilled harder. If you don't believe me, that's fine. You can argue with a fence because it's the way I do it, and it worked for me. My grandfather's the same way to this day. To this day. That man tells me he loves me, I'm afraid he's dying.
Yeah.
Facts. Facts.
That's funny.
But I love him more than anyone on the planet other than this one and my kids. My grandfather is my world. When he passes away, it's going to be a rough one for a long time. And that dude doesn't want to hug you. He doesn't want to smile at you. He doesn't want to say he loves you. Will not do it.
I think we should pause and understand that he tells me he loves me.
Yeah, he does. But he doesn't to me. He
No,
doesn't. Every
it's
once in a while, you can pry it out of him. You know what I mean? But I got to really push at him, and he'll do it real monotone under his voice, love you. You know?
Or he says, yeah.
Yeah. Yup.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but that worked for me. And again, he's the one that instilled values in me. So that's the way I learned. And that's the way I am the way I am. Grandpa did it. I'm going to do it, and it worked for me. If I think back, on why I run the way I work or why the way I tick, it's because Grandpa's the one that showed me the way. So
With the way that he is with the kids, does it bother you in any way, shape, or form in terms of that stoicism?
No, because they all absolutely love and respect him. You can see the respect. They try and test me all the time. Like they come for me and disrespect me a lot, but they don't do it for him. And I love that. I love that they respect
It's just a
him.
quick lower in the voice and they scatter. I don't even have to yell.
Nope.
It's just like if it's Dylan messing up, I just go, Dylan, and he's done.
Dylan pretty much
Over.
only listens to him.
He'll go and hide, right? And that's all I gotta do. And that's not like I don't beat him or
beat 'em.
anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But there's solid consequences when you step in.
They understand that
Yeah.
I'm not playing that game, and they think I hate them half the time. So
Well,
if they think you'll hurt them, then they're more apt to do what you think they'll do. You know.
Right.
I was just thinking, I love that we have that dynamic.
Yeah.
I think it's important. The kids know that you love them.
Yeah.
You are a very serious, stoic man. Like little man in the morning.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, it's a hug and a kiss. Have a good day.
Yep.
The mornings, every once in a while, where you're extra playful and pick him up and twirl him. He's laughing for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it makes his fucking day.
Yeah.
That we also know that when he has night terrors, I calm him down faster than anyone else.
He goes to you immediately.
When there's injuries, he comes to me immediately. Like it's subconscious. He
instinctual.
just comes right to me
It's instinctual.
because he knows that I'm the protector of the house.
Yeah.
So when he's afraid and he thinks there's a monster in the closet because he's 5,
He understands the hierarchy.
right, right. The reason I ask that is because there's a lot of women who will not allow their men that will write us in and say he's the perfect man, he's a gentleman, he's traditional, he's amazing, blah blah blah. But
He's not.
I don't
super
like the way
emotional.
he handles the kids, or he's too strict, or he's whatever. And every single time I'm like, you've married this man because of the man he is. He was obviously raised this way, and that is a behavioral trait that we learn growing up, that we do the same thing that was done to us.
Right.
It's why there's generational trauma.
Yeah.
But that raising and the way that we were brought up and the lessons that we were taught, we pass that on the same way. So when women send in those emails and they're bashing this perfect man's parenting, he got that way because he was parented that way. Yeah. And the things that fucked him up, he's not going to do that to the kids. Like, so
Yeah, he'll be able to distinguish what it was that wasn't good,
Yeah.
and nix that from the way he's doing things. But yeah, you're right. The way that he was raised made him the person that you're in love with, and he's doing the exact same thing that got him there.
Yep.
So like just because you think he's being harsh, he might not think he's being harsh, and more than likely he's not, or he does, but he knows that it's for the greater good.
Right.
Like when I have to be real hard, I don't always like doing it. Most of the time it breaks my heart too, but I know it needs to be done.
Right.
It's for the greater good. It's going to help them later on. Like I said, they might hate me now, but they're going to love me later.
And I don't correct him in the moment. If I think he's being harsh, I won't correct him in front of the kids. We'll have a conversation later because I don't think
It ruins the hierarchy.
it fucking does, dude.
I think it's important.
It's like we're talking to us.
I love that you said it's for the greater good, because not only are you setting them up for success in their own lives, you're preventing them from damaging other people.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that would spread.
Yeah,
Damage
the-
people, damage other people.
The idea of being a parent isn't just to pop more people on the planet.
Yeah.
The idea is to create something that will eventually, do good, or add actual value to the human race. It's not just to put somebody else out there that's a waste of air.
Yeah.
Just
agree
not.
with that. I agree with that. So we're coming up on 2 hours,
It's been 2 hours.
which means
Yeah.
which means it's now 9:00. And we always interview people and we let them say anything that they want to say at the end. So I want you to plug your TikTok, and then I want you both to give me a final thought. Anything that you want that you would like to put into the universe of the internet. to our 1.7 million followers on TikTok.
I am so bad.
What was that?
She was like, "You guys put me in front of cameras, and now
That
you're
was
asking
like-
me a question."
Ultimate anxiety right there.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
We're at 107 now, 107,000 on YouTube
Yeah,
now.
we are.
Our YouTube button will be here on Tuesday. I cannot
Oh,
fucking
wow.
wait for
So
that
cool.
button.
That is cool.
What's your TikTok, Jeff?
My TikTok, Jeffrey Graham Tattoos at Jeffrey Graham. Do they at on TikTok?
Yeah, that's how you tag people.
Okay.
When I clip this to make the clips, I will send you a Google Drive link so that you can use all this for your TikTok.
Oh, okay.
But I will put your at Jeffrey Graham Tattoos on every one of the videos so that people can find it, or I'll tag you when I post them.
Yeah, if you post anything.
I'll post all of them.
Oh.
We that's how we do it. Every one of our videos gets 15 to 30 clips between the two of
Oh
us.
yeah, roughly.
And we use them. We'll do
Yeah.
one to three a day on like slow weeks, and when we've got a lot of backlog, it's 3 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do it every hour or every 2 hours just to keep the content going, because that video may only get 20,000 views the first day, and then 3 days later I'll go back and it'll be at like 900,000 views because
Right.
TikTok slow rolls their content.
Yeah.
But this is what I was talking about with what we're doing, because if I can take this 2-hour video and give you 20 clips that are a minute plus long, that's content that you've already made.
Right.
So-
And you're just, yeah, I get it. So the plug-in thing I have a hard time with. I have a hard time with this, and you might empathize. Oh my goodness, my brain died. You might be empathetic to this. I don't like asking for things.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I need something, it doesn't matter. My foot could be falling off, and I don't want to ask you to help me get to the car. Okay. Because I feel weak if I do. So
Oh no, I get it. This man will sit here until he's like almost killing himself and go, "Okay, babe, I kind of need some help here."
I thought I
Right.
was fucking dying on the couch.
Yeah.
No bullshit. When I had that kidney stone, I pissed like, you pee a little bit of blood from a kidney stone. It was like 90% blood, 10% water. And I was on the couch dying, almost passing out. My lips were turning blue. Like I
I've
was
been
in the
asking
worst
him
pain
for
of my
like
ever
4
fucking
hours.
life.
Do you want me
Ever.
to take you?
And finally I was like, okay, if I don't get to the hospital now, I think I'm having kidney failure. Like worst pain I've
Yeah.
ever felt. And it was the same thing. Like you kept
So
trying,
prolonged.
kept trying,
Yeah.
kept
Yeah.
trying. And I'm like, it'll pass. It'll pass.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
didn't fucking pass.
makes me feel weak.
It does.
So the same thing happens with TikTok or asking anybody to go to the Patreon
Yeah.
or anything like that. I feel awkward as hell. Hey, follow me on TikTok.
Right.
Is the most awkward thing I say during the entire thing. Subscribe. I feel like I don't know, super awkward. I don't like asking for things. So I run into issues with that.
So here's a thought. Instead of saying follow or give me a subscribe, why don't you say something along the lines, if you found value here, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, I'm still asking.
You're not,
No,
though,
it's different.
because now you have made it transactional. Do you feel bad asking for payment when you collect money on a tattoo?
Sometimes.
You lying
I
fucker.
swear to God.
I believe that.
Really?
Yes, I believe him.
I swear to God. Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, oh my God. Yeah.
Is that because of the price of the tattoo and the work involved in it, or just you just feel weird asking for payment?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you look
I
at it
do
as
not like asking for things. It does not matter what it is.
Yeah.
If I want him to bring cash with me, I'm the most awkward person. Like, please bring cash.
I
And I'm
s-
just going to move over like
I
that.
see that differently than asking for help.
Yeah,
Because
it's-
you are doing a job, they are paying you for your services.
But I'm asking them to help me by
You
bringing
can't
cash.
look at it that way. That's
But-
what he's saying.
Oh,
Look
I
at it
know
differently.
that.
If
I
you
know
start
that, but
changing your brain to say that you're telling them, if this was important to you, then you can.
right.
It's
Yeah.
different.
If you found value in what we do, subscribe to the
Right.
channel.
Okay, this is going to be random, and I
Sure.
leave it out. I don't care. Why do you have Sam Witwicky's glasses on your wall?
Who?
What? Oh.
Who is Sam Witwicky? Wait.
I'm so confused.
I know that name. That's a
Yeah,
movie.
you do. It is.
What fucking movie is that?
Don't ask me.
What movie is that?
Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
The whole beginning of that movie is about them glasses.
So,
Is it?
yeah.
No, it's not those glasses, but
I
they
was like,
look
wild.
identical.
That was in a house that had a rug with a cat that had his thing on it.
Yeah, they're just an old pair of glasses. And I looked up and I went, what in the world?
So she took that picture in St. Augustine in a museum That desk is handmade. All of the items in there are 200 or 300 years old. Those glasses were old as fuck. And okay, there's a lot to this. Do you really want to hear all this? Do you care? Because I can give you the short answer is it's a dope photo.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's a dope photo.
The long answer to this is that we were in a room and she has photographer eye still, where everything is still new and exciting. And I don't. I am a professional photographer. I'm very good at taking pictures, but I don't look for the odd photo anymore, where she's like, what can I take a picture of? Oh my God, this is so exciting. That photo is hung on my wall, one, because I like the picture. It's very well done. But two, it's to remind myself that I always have to look for the things that are going to be exciting in life. Because if I keep my head down and just focus on doing what I'm doing, I'm going to miss things like that. Because we were in the same room, same cameras in hand, and I walked right past that shot and she took it.
Yeah.
So that's a reminder to myself in the whiskey room to keep my eyes open.
We've been chilling here this whole
You're
time.
making me emotional. Stop it.
I like the way you look at him. That's why I keep watching
my
you,
gosh.
because it's super cute.
I'm gonna start crying. I'm very honored that he hung my photo. I'm gonna cry because, like he said, he is a professional photographer. Like he's done this for years, and I'm 6 months into practicing photography, and you like this photo so much. Not only did you print it, it's fucking massive.
Yep.
And it's hanging in your whiskey room that's dedicated to your interests. Yep. And you're like, yeah, I want that bitch's
And he really
picture
likes
on the wall.
the Transformers.
Yeah. The sand dune photo was from Hunter Welsh Photography. That was actually taken at the same place that I took one of my sand dune photos in Colorado. He posted that to his Facebook page, and that squiggly line going all the way down to the back of the image just fucking does it for my brain. And I bought the print from him, like rights to it, so that nobody else could buy that photo. It's fucking mine.
That's neat.
And then I had it printed on metal, and then I have my dollar bill. So I have my 3 favorite photos in this room. And then when the monkey's done, the monkey's going right there.
Right where?
Right next to the... next to the Sandwich Wiki glasses.
I should probably change the way the monkey's drawn then.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Worst comes to worst, we'll put it above the toolbox or something, or hang it up above the doorway. It's going in this room, though. So what I was saying before we change the topic is, if you look at everything as a transaction, we do that. We tell people, if you find value in what we've done, the best thing that you can do to help us grow the channel is to share the content. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you found value, share the fucking content. It's literally a couple of clicks. Most people are willing to do that more than they are to donate financially.
Right.
However, if 1 in 10 people are willing to donate financially, whether it's subscribe to the Patreon, give us super chats, or send in donations, buy t-shirts or whatever, and one person shares the content and gets us 50 new people, that's 5 new people that are now supporting us financially who are also sharing the content. We have almost 1,200 people on Patreon.
Yeah.
And we have 900 people on our Discord. So like, we have monetized and turned the podcast into a business to the point where, like, we're going to Vegas in September on the podcast money.
That's really cool.
So, and
You
obviously
mean
I'll have
we're going to
clip all that.
Vegas on your podcast?
It's not, like, you could get away for a fucking week, bro.
What?
That'd be so much
You
fun,
could
though.
if you wanted to.
What?
Would you go to Vegas for a week without Angie?
No.
Exactly.
I would.
No, I'm having a hard enough time going to see David Vega for 3 days without Angie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm codependent. I'm not gonna lie.
Things are less fun when you're not around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say a lot of really funny shit, and I have a lot of really cool thought processes, and I can't remember them
Don't
for
want to
you.
share
They're
it.
gone.
Who are you gonna annoy?
Right.
Exactly.
Like, who am I just gonna
yeah.
That's funny.
spew garbage to?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. If I'm enjoying something, I need her to be there to enjoy it with me.
Right. You can't miss out not on just this experience. You have to experience me.
It's not the same thing as me coming home like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Right.
You know that there's actually been, like, studies and research done on this.
On what?
On people not enjoying life by themselves the way that they would enjoy it with another person.
Oh, I believe
it's
that.
not the same if you're doing it by yourself than if you are experienced with somebody that you love.
Right.
It enhances the enjoyment of everything. This is why women multiply. Because I could be having a good time, but I'm gonna have a dope fucking time if you're with me, because we're laughing and, like, experiencing life together. We're creating memories. It's things that we get to look back on. It's a shared experience versus, hey, I saw that one time. Yeah, neat.
Yeah. Or trying to explain it.
Right.
You know, well, you just had to be there, I guess.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
All right, dude. So give us your final thought Anything that you want to put out onto the internet.
I got nothing to put on the internet. I don't know what you're trying to get me to say
I'm not trying to get you to say anything.
or what I'm supposed to say.
Whatever you want, dude.
I get lost on that. I need somebody to hold my hand.
Okay,
through it.
so then give me a piece of relationship advice because you guys got it figured out. One piece of relationship advice for somebody that's about to get married.
Oh man. One piece, like the one thing would be to be open and honest. That would be the one thing. Sometimes you have to tell the hard truths. And if you can't tell the hard truths, you're not going to go anywhere. Sometimes you got to tell the hard truths.
Okay. Would you go as far as to say that those hard truths and the ability to talk about it solidifies the foundation of your marriage?
Yeah.
Because there's openness there. Like
Yeah.
if you're it's
And
the difference.
trust.
Yeah, it's the difference between building on granite and building on sand.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you got to tell them. You know what I mean? She's got to tell me when I'm acting like an idiot. And I got to tell her when she's acting like a bitch.
So I know this is closing thoughts. I'm going to ask
I
a
not supposed to
question
say
that
that?
might prolong this.
That's fine.
So in regards to having hard conversations about like the hard truths, as a woman, how do you handle taking in that information without becoming a defensive and not being willing to change those behaviors? Because that's something we get asked a lot.
Yeah.
Is how do I just take this in and not blame him or say I'm not the issue?
Since this is going to get prolonged, I have to pee.
I would say for me, it's just honest, slowing down and understanding that everything that he says is not out of a place of hate. You have to realize that it's respect. It's meant to make you stronger.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Would you say that there's an understanding there that he wouldn't come to you just to bitch about something? There's always, we need to problem solve this because I want to have the best relationship.
Right. He's not there to pick me apart.
Yeah.
It's not there to harm me. Anything that he would tell me is made to make me a better person and to make our marriage better. It's something that's, if he's coming to me with a problem, it's because it's bothered him. And in order to, I lost it. In order to fix it, gone.
I get it. I'm gone too. I've taken like 4 dab hits. I'm just having a good time at this point. So another question. So you guys said that you are 10 years into the 37 years that you were promised.
In August, 10 years in August.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I love that for you guys.
Yeah.
With this being your second marriage, would you say that you were more open to navigating things versus arguing things?
Absolutely. I've learned a lot about what I don't want in my marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about just spouting out hatred to get back at a person versus caring how it affects them every day.
What were you saying as I walked in and interrupted somebody talking?
Oh man, we were talking about 10-year relationship. Jeff was promised 37 years. Longevity,
I'm going to get that
problem
37
solving.
years, but believe that.
Right, you were promised.
I was promised.
Yeah.
Locked in. 37 years.
Whatever. We're supposed to get remarried.
Oh, we're
remember?
totally going to go to Montana or somewhere that has Indian tribes and get remarried there, because in the Indian tribes, they marry you for the life and the afterlife.
And then the next one. So I have already passed up on the 37 years. I'm like, not just this life, buddy. You got me. Next life too.
So fun fact, yesterday when I messaged you and was like, hey, when you have a minute, message me. It was because I wanted you to draw me something for our shirt that we're going to do. And the shirt was supposed to be his piece, her home. Because that's our thing. Like, I'm her home, she's my piece. And she's always saying that. Anyways, everybody that watches the podcast knows that by now, so I don't need to beat that dead horse.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to try to figure out a way to make that work. And then we decided not to do that because we are going to do in this life and the next. And then there's like vow type statements on there. And it's going to be my shirt for her with my words on it written manly. And then hers is going to be designed by her, written feminine for the women in the Discord, so that we have that. And on the back, it's going to say home on mine and peace on hers.
Don't look at me.
The old
You just make a day of making that poor woman cry.
it happens all the time. You would think that I abuse her with the way that she fucking
No,
breaks
it's-
down.
I'm
like
surprised there's not a compilation yet of me just.
this. They were working on it for a while. I think AJ
Where
gave
did
up
it
on that though.
go?
I don't know.
There's enough footage. Is it too much?
I don't know. Maybe
I understand.
it
if
would be
it's
like
too
a
much.
25-minute
Overwhelming.
thing.
Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is because of the whole Native American thing. So
I want to
Yeah.
do that.
So we're totally doing that.
if you guys go to Montana, I would wedding crash that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
any excuse to go to Montana, I'm here
Yeah.
for it. Wyoming, same thing. Anywhere in that area.
Yeah, we just want to go
Just give
where
me
they
like
have
a
the Indian
3
tribes
weeks
so that
notice.
we can do that.
Well, I mean, you could do that in the Everglades.
Oh yeah, I guess I could, couldn't I? I didn't know
It's not as
that.
beautiful as Montana, though.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Shh, you're killing it."
Why are you trying to have us? Why are you trying to get us to
him
make
about
a second wedding in the most miserable state ever?
I mean, I love it here. I just hate the humidity in the landscape.
That's what's miserable about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna stand in
Montana,
a swamp.
right. So you want to go to Montana?
Yeah.
Like I said, I would go there. I would complain if I had to go to the Everglades.
Yeah,
I would really fucking
Yeah.
complain.
right. It's
I would,
hot.
I would be with your kids bitching about the bugs and the fucking heat.
I probably would be too.
Yeah.
Yep. So no, we're gonna go somewhere like that, somewhere a little bit cooler. Probably go when it's in the fall or something when it's nice.
Can you acknowledge that I want to do that? I need to know you received it.
I've heard you say it 3 times now.
I know there was just no acknowledgement, so I'm going to keep going until there's a.
Iceland.
Do that too.
I know. I still want to do Iceland, but I would like to do that.
How many times do you want to fucking marry me, woman?
I want the solidification of the souls, just in case. No chances. There's a lot of cracks. We've talked about the sand and the pebbles.
You want to elaborate on that?
So in life, you have big things that need focus. That go into your jar first, takes up the most space, and there's little problems. Now, less attention goes to those things because they're not the necessities of life, and those go into the jar on top of your big rock, and you give the jar a little. You know, the Jack Sparrow, I got a jar of dirt, and it fills in those cracks. The sand falls in and fills in the cracks.
These are spirit fingers, and these are gold.
Those are the cracks I'm worried about.
So you need more
So-
sand.
Need to fill in there. Yeah, she wants more sand.
Yeah.
I want to do that. Insurance. That's the thing I talk about just in case. I would rather do it and be like, oh, look, we didn't need it. Versus being at the end and being like, all right, you guys, you talked about it, thought about it, you didn't do it. So unfortunately,
That's true.
So what about you? What is your one tip for marriage in the beginning? I'm on the spot.
Honestly, I would just respect.
Yeah.
That's my boil down for it, is just thinking about your partner, putting them first, and respecting them at the end of the day. That's
Can you elaborate on putting them first? Because the people are gonna have a real fucking hard time with that.
figure it out for yourself.
I gave you the advice.
yeah,
Read a
that
book.
was it. That was it. You get nothing else. No.
If you want an elaboration, listen to the rest of their podcast.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Or follow me on TikTok.
See?
You're not going to learn anything more from that, but you might as well do it anyway.
Scenario. Say you want to plan a girls' night and you suggest, let's all go to Outback. Drinks. I love cheese fries. The ranch, fantastic. And they're all like, no, I would rather go to a bar until 3 a.m. And then your man's like, oh, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. You know, I've heard that bar has had some issues with like drinks getting spiked and shit.
That would be a no for me. If
Yeah.
it's disrespectful to him and our marriage, it's a no.
Okay.
That's my ending.
It's the same thing on my side, too. It's a no for me, dog.
As soon as you said to a bar without him till 3 a.m., I was done anyways.
Ooh, I love
That's my
that.
thing.
We've received a lot of fucking hate over that video that we posted about this. When we first started dating, she was going out with the girls after work, and I had a hard time with it. And I was like, "Look, I don't like this shit." And she's like, "All right, I ain't going to the bar no more." That was the fucking end of it.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a big discussion. I didn't ask her not to do it. I said that I don't like it, and she's like, "Cool, not doing it."
You even were like, no, like I'm just saying, like it's something I'll get over. I'll figure it out. It's just no, it makes me uncomfortable. I was like,
Right.
I don't like that, knowing I am the one who is making you uncomfortable.
Right. So we had that discussion, and then we got into the discussion of the courting phase and how you should set your boundaries and expectations ahead of time while you're still in the friendship phase when you haven't fucked each other yet. Like, it's very just casual communication. I'm not okay with this. Cool. Well, I'm not okay with this. Well, I can't accept that. Cool. Then we don't need to be together, right? That's a normal, healthy thing.
Yeah.
But if you can lay down your boundaries and expectations and everything is understood before you start really getting intimate, there's not going to be a reason for, I don't know. I didn't know that wasn't okay. I was just joking. You know, I was just kidding. You know what I mean? Like, that shit goes away because it was clear before you became a thing. And people were saying that I was controlling and that she should be able to go to the bar whenever the fuck she wants. And she's like, I don't want to go to the bar.
Yeah,
Like,
that's for me too.
There's a difference
If
there.
it makes you uncomfortable, it's something I don't want to do.
She can do whatever she wants.
right.
At the end of the day, like I trust her and she's gonna come home to me. I know this. This isn't a maybe. I know this. I know she's not gonna do something stupid, right? So if she wants to do it, she can do it. If it makes me uncomfortable, I'll tell her, and 99.9% of the time she's not gonna do it just because.
Right.
But I don't hold her back. She's not chained to a water heater. You know what I mean? Like,
That's exactly the same thing with us.
yeah.
I'm not going to do something that's going to put our relationship in jeopardy for an evening out.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a lifetime, right? So are you going to jeopardize the entire lifetime for a couple of drinks and a girls' night? Like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
We are currently on I guess more me than you, but I'm very stuck on this whole selfless versus selfish. And that's, I think, the foundation of a relationship as well, because in the very beginning, you're putting your best foot forward and you want them to like really enjoy their life. And then as things get normal and routine sets in, like, people separate that back to themselves and they're trying to live as individuals in a relationship where it's me first and they live as me first, and that doesn't jive. Like, you can't live like that. So I'm glad that you put it that way, because that's exactly what it is. We want each other to be happy and we try to put our best foot forward in order to make that happen. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes we're going to miss out on shit that we really want to do, and we may have a disruption over it. That's what we call our arguments. It's a disruption because it doesn't last more than an hour, and we're able to resolve things fairly quick. Our communication is
And it's always
there.
calm.
Is it chef's kiss?
yeah. Yep. Our disruptions are 95%
Miscommunication.
me not understanding the way that she's talking.
Yeah. I'm literally having to learn another language to be able to
Right.
translate my emotions into a way for you to understand them.
Yep. And the other 5% is you getting ahead of me in the conversation while I'm still trying to resolve the initial point.
Right.
We'll be having a conversation and I'll be stuck on point 1 and she's on point 6. I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from?
Yeah.
And not, obviously, I don't yell at her, but like, that's,
Right.
Yeah.
I get so frustrated. I'm
Internally.
like, pause.
Yeah.
Stop. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I'm here. You're here. How the fuck did that happen? Let's figure this
Do you
out.
understand that?
Yeah.
You're able to follow
do
the
it.
points, right?
Yeah.
So the way I explain it, it's like connecting the dots on a map. Like X marks the treasure, and you have to go
Right.
around all these fucking obstacles.
Right.
And there's little landmarks. And I know these landmarks. I'm able to follow everything. I'm already over here at the treasure.
Right.
And you're still here at like landmark 2 trying to figure out how to get to landmark 3.
It's not trying to figure out. It's trying to understand why I'm at landmark 2.
Right.
Like, why are we even here?
Oh, you
like,
don't even understand why we're at landmark 2.
I don't need to have this conversation. Like, if there's a problem, we just need to get to the root of the problem. And now, because we're not holding shit in and we're not arguing while processing, we don't do that.
I didn't even know that.
That's the difference. She's read books where they talk about the way the woman's brain works and a man's brain works. Because we are problem solvers.
Yeah.
We don't jump from thing to thing to thing. We need to figure out what's going on right now before moving on to the next thing, because otherwise this didn't get the proper attention. And like, if anybody's ever had to like trace a ground wire. See? That's
I had no idea what that
every
meant. That
fucking
tells
man
me.
watching the
Thank
podcast
you.
right now went, oh no, fuck that.
Yeah.
That's the difference between our brains.
Yeah.
Because we need to explore every facet of what's happening so that we don't have to do this again.
So there's not a surprise.
Right. And that's the way our brains work, and yours don't do that.
Yeah.
I also recognize that when I go
I love that he went, fuck that.
in those disruptions where I'm at landmark 3, 4, and 5, I'm recognizing those might just be me trying to get my emotions across about the root of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
emotional thinking, whereas we're logically thinking.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm such an emotional thinker. It's so hard for me to reel myself in.
Everything I do is based logically. Before it's based in emotion.
Yeah.
I'm thinking logically first.
And I don't like logic.
Nope, she hates it.
I wrap around to it at base, but I take the long way every time.
I want the shortest route possible. I'm getting so good. So my logic is at the end of a very long fishing line, and I'm deep sea fishing. Like, that fucker's out there, and I'm having to pull that bitch in, put it against my stomach, trying to come on, please.
Just because it took you less time doesn't mean that your path isn't longer.
Right.
It's going to take more of an emotional strain on you than it is me, because you're thinking emotionally. Now, you got it done quicker, sure.
Oh, I still have to get through it, though.
Yeah, but it's quicker better?
No.
No. You see?
No. So when I say quicker, I don't mean I'm taking shortcuts.
Well, no, I understand that.
Okay.
But what I'm telling you is that, you're going down your little rocky path or whatever, right? And I'm on this path, and I'm thinking this rock or that rock or that rock, right? Which is the better path to go down, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas you're just like this path, this path, this path, this path, and then you got to the top. You're here first, right? You know what I'm trying to say? You made it up there, and you're at the top at the treasure, as you called it, while we're still back here at path 1 or 2 trying to figure out how to get, or how we even got there. Or that's because we thought about 19 paths before we got to the second path. Mm-hmm. You just said that path. Right? That's exactly
you ran with your emotions.
That's what I'm
You
trying to
ran
prevent
emotionally.
doing. So when I come to him with a problem, it's taken me a week.
Yeah.
That week is me trying to be okay, I need to reel myself in because I've just jumped
Yeah.
I joke that I'm like an Olympic runner because I put myself through some fucking obstacles with the conclusions I jumped to.
Right. And it's because you're doing it emotionally.
Oh, yeah.
But the second you can get your brain to stop thinking emotionally and start thinking logically, then it just comes together and everything's just oh, okay. Figured it out.
So I have borderline personality disorder. So I have to switch from emotional brain to logic brain, because if I don't, everything is a meltdown. Everything is a fight. It's a huge fucking ordeal. It's like a hormonal 19-year-old girl who's been traumatized her entire life. It's fucking bad. So I have to logic brain think. And when I'm in emotional mind, I always just go, I'm going through it. I need a minute. And she'll leave me alone for a day or two until I can pull myself back in. And then we can have conversations. And normally I know it's not, none of my response or my reactions to a situation warrants the response I'm about to give it. And I know that. So for us, I know when she's in emotional mind and she's going from thing to thing to thing, because when I allow myself to get there, meltdowns happen. So our biggest thing is not having conversations when we're in emotional mind. And the biggest thing for me is not to feel abandonment when you're in emotional mind, because my BPD goes to abandonment issues immediately.
Right. I stopped speaking.
I know.
Yeah. So
to process.
Yes. Because if I process out loud, I'm having to sift, because I always say that I am not my thoughts. So I'm having to sift through those fucking intrusive thoughts of crash the car going 80 miles an hour. Yeah. And if I were to say that out loud, people are like, oh shit, 5150 this bitch.
Yeah, right. Rubber room.
Right. But I'm not that thought. I have to sift through that shit.
Absolutely.
To get to the logic. And this man doesn't need all my bullshit on his doorstep, especially when we're in a disruption.
Yeah. I have the emotional times too.
Yeah.
Right. And in the middle of these emotional times, I still am a logical thinker. I'm still thinking logically, but at that time, the emotional part is taken over, and it doesn't let my logical brain have the room that it normally has. So, I still have them. I'm an introvert, like you wouldn't believe, anywhere other than the tattoo shop. Yeah. I don't like going places. Do you see me at shop functions?
No.
Bruh.
I wouldn't know because I don't go to them either.
I'm not doing that. They're like, you going to this? I'm like, no. The last time it was, are you coming to the V's thing at the
I didn't go to that either.
And I was like, I can't. And they were like, well, you can't or you don't want to. I went, both.
Does it matter?
Yeah. Both. I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. So
had they went to a restaurant, I would have went to that. I don't want to, maybe, depending on the restaurant.
He probably wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have.
But we weren't definitely not going to the bar.
Right. See, and that's just it. And everybody that in that social circle, that's what they want to do. They won't like, you've tried to get them to go to Olive Garden and they'll all agree and then they'll cancel last minute and then they'll all go to the bar.
I'll go to Olive Garden with you. Be loving some pasta.
Bitch. It's the same thing with tattooing, though. I know
Right.
that we're out of the tattooing talk, and we were supposed to be done with this forever ago. It is what it is, guys. This is the exact same thing. I don't know where it comes from or where their thought processes are, but especially with my apprentices, even the ones that have been tattooing for a while, i.e. Zach and Alex. Alex is, let me put this out there, my favorite of all the apprentices. Okay,
See that?
I believe it. Yeah.
absolutely is. She did everything I told her to do when I told her to do it, and that was that. You know
And
what I mean?
it shows.
And it does. She's miles ahead of all of them.
Yep.
Right? But the other ones would much rather joke and play and sit at the front counter and,
got a cool
and bicker
job.
back and forth and have their little fun. Now, I'm not saying that there's no time for fun, but if you want to be good at this, you have to dedicate yourself to it. And they won't do it.
Yep.
And then they want to sit back and whine and cry that they don't have it or
Right.
that they can't do it. You can do it. You just refuse to do it. And what is with the I don't even know where to start this, though. The people going and paying in our shop, in our current shop, they go and they want to pay other tattoo artists to learn something that they could walk across the room and learn. It's always an excuse. It's always if this or if that. If you'd have got your ass in gear and actually wanted to learn, you would be where you want to be.
Those people that are in your TikTok asking you questions about tattooing have more drive and determination than the people that are in the studio that work with you that want to get better. I would take those people over 90% of the people that come in looking for a job.
That's why I say it all the time. And that's where the scratcher versus whatever. Listen, I have a different definition of what scratcher is than everybody else does.
What is the definition?
For me, a scratcher is somebody that doesn't care.
Okay.
Okay? They're going to tattoo you for a pack of smokes and a six-pack, okay? And they don't care if they get better. They're just doing it to be doing it. That's a scratcher. They do not care. If you are bad at tattooing, but you are actively trying to get better, you are no longer a scratcher. You are learning.
I actually agree with that.
That is exactly the way I feel about it. And I tell the people on the TikTok live all the time that exact same thing. I get so much kickback from, the loyalists, the loyal to the coil, bruh, those people. That shit drives me crazy.
It's a hive mindset.
It is. And they're stuck in this, I don't know, like, what are you, in a fraternity? Did you have to get spanked on the butt with a paddle to get into this? Get out of here with that.
Yep.
Like, they want this to stay that way. And it's like, do you understand what you're saying right now? Like, this, just because this is the way it was done 20 years ago, it's the way it should be done now. So what? I should be tattooing people without gloves on and reusing the same needles because 40 years ago, that's what we did.
Right.
What are you talking about? You ain't special. You're not special because you use a 13-ounce tattoo machine that
Right.
sounds ridiculous. Okay? What was it? Peter's apprentice wants to use a coil machine, right?
Oh God, I hate them so much.
And I know.
They're so cool, but that
No,
They're not cool.
they're not cool. Okay?
So-
They're
They look
disgusting.
cool.
First
They-
off.
Yes, they are.
I don't care if you bag them or you don't. The things are gross. You can't properly clean them or they'll corrode. Period. Okay? I don't care what you say. So argue with a wall. They're
Yeah.
gross.
Yep.
Right? They're fickle. You're always adjusting them. You're bending springs or making new springs. If you accidentally set it down too hard, it's going to run different.
Right.
Like, it is
Inconsistent.
stupid.
Yep.
It's loud. It hurts your hands. I'm just,
Carpal tunnel.
yeah, I'll pass. But anyway, he wants to use a coil machine. Peter was talking about it, and they were like, you're going to have a hard time with Jeff over there because he's not going to want you to use a coil machine. And I overheard this. And I said, if you let that kid use a coil machine in here, I will quit, and you can take it up with Cass. And I mean it. Like, I am
so
not
funny.
sitting in the same room with one of those things. It is not happening.
I have no love for coil machines. I use them for most of my career. I see that as I mean, would you operate a computer that runs on DOS only?
Yeah. Would you?
That's what you're doing.
Like,
you
you
are
have a-
working harder for no fucking reason.
Right. You have a car that starts with a push button. You want to do that or you want to get out and crank it start?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And I get this argument all the time. People are in my TikTok lives. I got the trolls now. I
Yeah.
love them. They hate them. Right. All the moderators are in there like, hey, shut up, man. And I'm like, I'm playing the game with them, you know? Because I think it's funny. Because if I can make them look stupid in front of 2,000 people, I would much rather do that. It gives me so much joy inside my heart.
Yes.
To make a troll feel dumb. It's
You
just
know that
the
moment
greatest.
in The Grinch where his heart grows 3 sizes? Yeah.
Yep.
Brings me that warmth.
I'm definitely bringing Christmas to Whoville.
That's going to be the title of the podcast.
Good, yeah.
That's my favorite thing is when they come in and they try to say something, but they have no idea. They'll come in and they'll tell me that I suck at tattooing. One time they came in, one person came in and told me that I sucked at tattooing. And I said, I tell you what, go over to my portfolio, you look at it, and then when you come back and apologize, we'll welcome you in with loving arms, right? And he leaves and he comes back and he said he's seen somebody that was just good at hiding bad line work. I was like, this dude is going to die on this hill. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but I definitely made him look stupid and I was just full of love. You know how she's crying all the time? That was me.
Jeff, I love that moment. That's
That was me.
amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm getting all
Knowing
those,
how that feels.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
but I'm getting all those trolls.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are those people that are loyal to the coil, as they say. And we're loyal to the coil, and loyal to the old ways of doing it. And they, like it's some kind of a rite of passage. You know what I mean? Like you have to do it this way, or you're not doing it right. And I'm just like, you're an idiot. But it's as simple as that. I really, really believe that these people are just.
It's hive mind.
It is.
Somebody that they look up to has said that shit, and they're like, "Oh, he's a good tattoo artist. I gotta follow that mindset."
Oh, yeah,
and that's Peter's apprentice.
Oh, dude. And that's every single person in the tattoo shop. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Oh, that's the third time in a week that I've heard that phrase. You know how
Really?
many people don't know what that is?
Yeah, a lot. Most people don't. So the Dunning-Kruger effect is when you are actually stupid, but you think you're smart. It's because you don't know anything about the subject or very little about the subject. It makes you think that the subject isn't that big. Therefore, you're smarter in it. And people that are very smart at a certain thing know that there's more to learn, so they think that they're stupid at that thing.
There's actually a chart for the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it starts at the base, and it's like, I know nothing. I learn a little bit, and at the very top of the peak, it's called the Mountain of Stupid. And it's you think that you know everything the fuck you know about this and you don't know shit. And then you plummet, and you realize you don't know shit, and like you only knew a little bit, and you have to work your way back up.
Yeah.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is the epitome of every single tattoo artist that has ever existed on the fucking planet. Every year one tattooer thinks that they are God's gift to tattooing, and then by year 3, they're like, oh fuck, I don't know shit.
Yep. And it happens with all my apprentices.
I'm surprised that you knew that. I don't know, like, that's such a rare thing to hear. It's also like tertiary.
Tertiary. Yeah,
We
it's
we
the
had
third.
that conversation, and you use that word. I'm like, you know what that means?
Yeah.
Most people,
No, I know what a lot of
there are
things
people
mean.
Googling that right now.
Yeah, I know a lot of things mean. Like when I get on there and I start talking to people about art, or sometimes even most of the time even in the shop, if I'm talking to people about art, it's like gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I start talking about shadows, they really lose it, right? Because you have the 3 main shadows, or your primary, secondary, and tertiary shadows.
Right.
Right. First off, when you do use the word tertiary, they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Right. That's the term for it. That means 3.
Wait, people really don't know that word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you fucking with me?
Yeah, you'd be fucking shocked.
Yeah. It's pretty
Especially
wide.
in the tattoo industry.
It's not used, but it's a term for something, right? So we
Right.
don't use it in everyday life. I'm not going to be like, you tertiary one, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not doing that.
yeah.
But it's you could use it like that if you wanted to.
Right, but I've done 6, 7 tattoos. Right, I've ended my apprenticeship, and all of the studying that I was doing to better like my color theory and whatnot. That's in every chart I've ever looked
It
at.
always is.
The problem is you were doing the work where most don't.
Yeah. Most refuse to do that. They don't take that extra step. And that's what I was getting to.
How is that an extra step? How
It's
is
an
that
extra
not?
step. It's absolutely an extra step. And people do not get to that extra step, right? The fact that you just did it and done it proves that you don't see it as an extra step.
Yeah.
You're doing it the right way. I don't see it as an extra step because I do it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Right.
They see it as an extra step. They already know that. They don't need to do that. I don't need to do this because I already know it. You don't. You just think you do because you're stupid. But anyway, so when I get into all the different shadows,
Because you're stupid.
well, You are at this specific thing. Okay, ignorant would be better.
Right.
Ignorant's a better word.
Right. It's actually more accurate too.
It's definitely more accurate.
Is
Okay,
it
but
really
stupid
ignorance
sounds
though
more
when you're
fun.
choosing it? I thought ignorance is like you don't know, then you can become enlightened. But when you have that information and then still choose to be like, nah,
Right.
Then becomes
Then it's
stupid.
Then it's
stupid.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Ignorance is the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. So that's fine. You lack that knowledge, whether you choose to have that knowledge or not.
Right.
If you choose not to have that knowledge, would be stupid. Right. But not knowing the knowledge is ignorant. Anyway, so primary, secondary, tertiary, and then you have occlusion shadows. You have ambient shadows, and you have all these other different shadows. And people, just like they go cross-eyed with that, when these are just basic art things.
How much better would people progress if when those terms were said, they said, wait a minute, can you explain that? Instead of just going,
Oh, huge. Ask why.
Right.
The best
Dude.
thing you can do for anything is to ask why.
yeah,
Why will tell you how.
Right.
Every single time. If you can understand why, you will know how. And it's always like that. But people skip all the fun steps. If anybody would just do the simplest things, just from like making a scaffolding for their drawings, right? They have this pride in them, and they think that if somebody sees me sketching this scaffolding, they're going to think I don't know how to draw. And that's not anywhere close to the truth.
Right.
If somebody thinks you can't draw because you have to make a scaffolding is a sketch. I call it a scaffolding.
Right.
Then they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. And I'm always beating that even into the people that work at the shop. Pay attention to the shape that you're drawing. Just because it's a skull doesn't mean you lose the fact that it's a ball innately.
Right.
You know, if you break it down, it's a ball. Right? Well, it's really a whistle, but whatever.
it is. It's a
believe you.
whistle.
I
I
believe
whistle.
yeah, I see it.
But if you can break it down into that basic shape, you're going to learn way better, but they will not do it.
That's an ego thing.
It is.
And ego kills talent.
And ego kills talent.
You know, we talk all the time, or we talk all the time. You and I talk all the time about this too. When it comes down to having that that work ethic that we're talking about right now, learning tertiary colors and like understanding all of the terms and doing those extra steps, is the reason that people who are self-taught and don't have a natural talent like other people have tend to make it really far in the industry, because they get good customer service and they understand all of the technical aspects of things. And if you can lay down a proper technical tattoo with mediocre art abilities, you're still going to be better than people who are fucking amazing
Tremendously
artists
great
that are
artists,
just
yeah.
wrecking skin.
Like Edward Lee.
Yeah.
Ed Lee is known by almost every tattoo artist, except for the newer generation, because his flash was in every single tattoo shop on the planet. That dude cannot tattoo to save his life. Right? But his flash is phenomenal. Now he's getting up there in age. That might have something to do with the reason why he's not tattooing real good right now. But regardless, that the fact still remains. If you can technically apply it, you're going to do a better job than somebody that can't.
Yep.
But I don't know how we got way off on that, but
Well, you were talking about the workload that goes into everything, and like then we got into the conversation about ego and drawing the bones of a drawing. Like, I watch you draw. I would never say that you and I are on the same level of artistic ability. You could outdraw me every day, any day of the week, fucking with one eye, because you
I have one
have one eye.
Yeah.
And you are a better artist artistically than I will ever be, because you have beat that your entire life. I haven't. I have taken shortcuts and I have done the lazy work in terms of the artistic ability while learning the technical aspect of everything.
right.
And I'm a mediocre tattoo artist with great fucking customer service, and I have what I do and I do it good enough, but I'm really good with my fucking clients.
Well, the clients is where it's at anyway. That customer service, tattoo artists are car salesmen. Why do we not figure this out? How have people not figured this out? Like, you can see it in the fact that, like, I'll see somebody with like a terrible tattoo and they will go to bat, or they'll go to war for that tattoo artist that did that, even though it is garbage.
Right.
But that tattoo artist made them feel included. They made them happy, made them feel like they were the center of the universe.
Right.
And they had that client forever. They'll go down swinging for that guy. And I got people that take bullet for me all day, every day.
Right.
Right. But I'm super nice to them. And we've lost that in tattooing. We're losing it more and more and more. The younger people, they don't want to tattoo the little things. They're too cool for that. They're not fun. They're not artistic and blah, fuckity blah. Do the goddamn tattoo and smile about it.
Yep.
It's going to make you money and it's going to bring you more clients. What are we doing?
I tell everybody that has that mindset that if you want to create your own art and only your own art, you need to start painting and sell your fucking paintings and get out of the tattoo industry. Because when you are tattooing, you are supposed to be giving a client what they want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you want to do Japanese realism. Client doesn't want that. They want your name tattooed on their butt cheek.
Yeah, or get your own little private little studio and only welcome that stuff. Whatever.
You are selling an experience.
Yeah,
You
you're
are.
selling
You
an
fucking
experience.
are.
Yeah. It is an experience. That's why this is something we can butt heads on. Fuck yeah.
Hang on. Go.
I do not like the rule that says nobody can come back with their client. One person should be able to come back with your client.
I agree.
They should not alienize your client base because you are uncomfortable. Fuck you.
That actually started because of COVID. And because...
And it hangs in there because everybody hates people.
yeah, probably.
That's why it's there.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to the people. Okay? Not everybody works the same way. We don't all operate the same way. Am I going to go in and get something tattooed on me for nobody there and not care about it? Sure.
Right.
Me, right? But that doesn't mean that freshly new 18-year-old girl or boy doesn't want a family member with her. Now, I understand 4 or 5 people, even 2 or 3, it gets a little crazy because the shop's small.
Right.
But one person is not going to hurt your precious little sensibilities, okay? If they giggle and laugh and move around a whole bunch, go, hey, I know you guys are having a good time, but we need to settle down.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to go, fuck you, buddy, and keep doing it. They're not going to do it.
Even if they keep moving, this tattoo's not on you.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's
I tell them
theirs.
that. It's your tattoo. Move all you want, bro.
I'll warn you twice. I'll warn you
Yep.
twice. Hey, man, you're moving a whole bunch.
You get one.
Hey, buddy, you're moving a whole bunch. And then after that, I won't even say anything.
No?
I'll just continue to tattoo you, bro.
I give
Yeah.
you one
Like-
warning. Sit still. It's your tattoo, bro. Move all you want. I can't see this shit from my living room.
Yeah, do what you want to do. But that's a rule in the tattoo shop that pisses me off because I, as the tattoo guy, get to be the guy to deliver that bad news. Now, I'm the asshole. Me.
And it's the experience
Right.
for friends that want to get matching
is an
tattoos.
experience. I agree with
That's
that.
important.
Yeah,
it
you're
helps add to it.
You're absolutely. And if I can make them feel happy and wanted and having fun and joking with them, they're going to fucking come back
Yeah.
and they're going to bring their friends.
So it stopped because of COVID, and we didn't reinstate it because artists were not telling people not to have 2 to 3 people back there, and people were getting in other people's workstations. And that's where the issue was. And because no one is willing to say anything, when things start missing,
Yeah. So fun fact, I threw that out the window and don't give a shit.
this is the issue with me not being in the studio. My biggest thing when I was there all the time was I would be the one to have to tell people to get out of other people's workstations.
Yeah.
And I would tell the artists, like, hey, they're sitting in someone's workstation. And they'd be like, yeah, I didn't notice I was tattooing.
Yeah.
If you have a client back there, you get a folding chair and they sit next to the fucking client.
Yep.
They don't sit in somebody's workstation. They don't walk around and look at other people's fucking drawings
Yep.
and touch people's.
It's
I had somebody walk over to my station at one point and pull a binder off the fucking shelf and start going through my drawings. And I was like, excuse me. And they're like, what? And I'm like, do you fucking mind? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, that's my desk.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I didn't know any better. I'm like, oh, you didn't know any better? You see the pictures of my fucking family on the wall and all the art there? That's my workstation. Get the fuck out of my desk.
Yeah.
But I would be the one always forced to say something because nobody else would have a fucking backbone and say what needs to be said in
Right.
those moments. I don't care if people come back.
I thought we were going to argue about it and I was excited.
Right, I took a hit for that shit.
Because that was like, because that's like one of my things. I stand by that, and I think it's the dumbest thing we can do, and we do it, and I think it hurts us.
I think other
really,
shops-
really think it hurts us.
I do think other shops allow it.
Yeah.
And I think that is where it hurts you. If nobody else did,
Right.
it would be,
Then it would be an industry standard, and we'd understand.
or even just a local standard. But the fact that other shops in the area allow it, it hurts
and
you.
the empathy that I feel when I go, oh man, I'm sorry, but your loved one can't come with you, and then the excitement, the joy drains from their face, and now it's just okay, let's go back here and fucking sit. I guess I'm gonna get this tattoo. They don't care as much anymore, and you took that away. You
Right.
took that joy from them, so you could feel a what? A little bit more comfortable, get the fuck out of here, dude. It's everywhere. It's not just our shop. It's every
I know.
fucking place you go to. It's that one guy on TikTok, and I swear to God, clip this. Who is that guy? I can't remember his goddamn name, but he's always got that stoic face, and he's like, everything the client does is terrible. Who we
Oh
talking
yeah,
about?
I know who you're talking about. They're in Florida.
They're in Florida. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think
What
of it.
is it? The guy that
Super big tunnels in his ear, always like super fucking okay, yeah, we can do that, and he does something asshole-ish.
He does something
I know who you're
asshole-ish.
talking
I
about.
can't remember his
It's the
fucking
one
name.
that Yogi Barrett ripped apart.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. You are a fucking piece of shit, and you are what's wrong with the industry.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
This comes down to that
How many
local
followers you
versus
have?
global thing. Because of TikTok, that shit is becoming normal, and people are viewing the entire tattoo industry that way.
Yeah.
I
They
told
think
you when
we're
I was at
all
the shop today,
assholes.
bro, I'm over this shit. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like where the industry's going. I think that we're in a very bad place right now, and if it doesn't turn around, the experience of getting a tattoo, we're going to end up back to where we were in the 70s.
Yeah, people tell me all the time, man, I can't believe how nice you are. Aren't tattoo artists supposed to be assholes? I'm like, no. No, they're not supposed to be assholes. They're supposed to be human beings just like everybody else. But
Right.
douchebags like that make it normal, and people are scared.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't need to be scared. So what if you don't want, you know what? They want their cross upside down. I'm going to tell them, hey, bro, you know that's upside down? You know that the only way people are going to know that you're talking about Jesus is if you're praising the Lord, right? And we'll joke about it, right? The rest of the time, you're a Satan worshiper. But I'm not going to tell them no, and I'm not going to ostracize them for what they want. That's what they want. It's theirs. It ain't yours, motherfucker. Stop.
I'm excited to pick my apprenticeship back up because I'm gonna thrive.
When are you going to do that?
Just whenever. I do plan on picking it back up.
You're going to go back to work?
That was the plan. I would like to finish
All right.
my apprenticeship.
I mean, if that's what you want to do.
I said early on it's on hold because that is a
all
dream
right.
for me.
Okay. Just to have the title, or to actually do to be a tattoo artist?
I would like to tattoo if I could do it once a week.
Like for a living, or just like every once in a while? I think is what we're trying to ask.
Right.
I would like to be. I want to tattoo at least once a week. If I can go in once a week for like 8 hours and tattoo, have a break from the house.
That's in your self-care, is
Dig
what
it.
I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dig it. I dig it.
If it's a dream, you should absolutely follow through.
So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
hearing
something I'm going to pursue later on.
I'm hearing private studio is going to have to happen, because if we get to 1 million subs on YouTube and like this really becomes something, there's no fucking way you can go to work.
I'll do a private studio if Jeff wants to go, or if he can go. Would you want to do a private studio?
I mean, kind of.
Would he be allowed to? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, this is after the podcast.
This is not
This is a
making it into the
discussion.
end of the podcast. He came in yesterday or whatever. He's like, I'm talking about partitioning this off to 2 rooms. And I was like, God, please.
Well, what I meant, I said 2 rooms. What I meant to say was 2 and 2 and 2.
2, yeah.
Because we'd have to have a hallway. And it really could happen. The rooms would be a lot smaller, though. And I think that people would have a problem with that. I think that if I had Adam and his brother from A&R Accents do the work in there, it would get done in 2 days. They fucking built this wall and had it installed in a day and a half.
Yeah. It
Like,
was a day and a half.
They did the bathroom in 2 days. Like if I gave everyone that works on that side of the studio the same days off, they could put paper up, go in there and build those fucking rooms, and it would be done in no time. The problem is it would cost me $30,000 or $40,000, and I don't want to spend that money on the tattoo shop.
I don't blame you.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what you're talking about.
I wouldn't do that either.
I was talking about making 6 rooms out of that new unit that we have.
Oh, okay.
It would make the rooms very small, though.
It would.
Yeah. Unless you like did it like an L shape.
The goal for me, the actual dream that I see for To Be Better and Sacred Rites, is to eventually have a 4,000 square foot space that has a dedicated recording studio, a dedicated coffee shop, and a dedicated private tattoo studio. And if we get to the point where we've got 1 million subscribers on YouTube and we're pulling the YouTube money that people like Peter McKinnon are pulling, and we sustain it for 2 years, and I know that money is longevity, I will drop the money to make that happen. Yeah, I'm gonna. We'll have this conversation after we end the podcast, because there's a lot to that, and I don't want to have to keep chumping and cutting, because there's gonna be a lot of it. But that's the dream. I want a coffee shop that has a tattoo studio and a recording studio or a photography studio all in it. When we were in St. Augustine, there was a soap company that was 1 block from the house that we stayed in.
Yes. We
And
walked to it, yeah.
That soap company had 7,000 square. Yes.
Yeah.
7,000 square feet for $6,000 a month.
I think she said 75. It was big.
Yeah. But we only got to see 5,000 square feet of it.
Right, because the rest of it was...
Right. If I could find a space like that was in that price range and we had the To Be Better name and we were promoting tattoos, we could have people flying all over the place. And they would.
Yeah.
They fucking would.
Yeah, they
and
would.
if I could staff it with 5 really good fucking artists and do like a 70-30 split, because at that point the podcast is paying for everything, I wouldn't have to worry about the money that the artist is making to keep the fucking shop going.
Right.
And we would have our studio in there. Because we're going to build a studio anyways. I want to build a studio near an airport. Because as this keeps growing, I want people to fly in, record in our fucking studio, and then fly back because I don't want people in our house.
Big name motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you just tattoo people from the podcast or whatever, and that's going to grow it, you know?
Right. Do you know who Pearly Things is? Have you seen her on TikTok?
No.
She's been banned like fucking 10 times. She's like a hardcore, she's like the female Andrew Tate.
Oh, okay.
Well, before she got banned. 'Cause
She reached out to me.
again, after the ban or
No,
pre-ban?
recently she has not reached out to me.
She reached out to us and was like, hey, you guys want to be on the podcast? Like, we had an opportunity to do that. I've reached out to Jelly Roll's wife. Like, we're starting to really make headway. We're interviewing a Netflix documentary filmmaker next week. Let's wrap up the podcast real
Okay.
quick.
And then finish the conversation.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Not particularly. I enjoyed this. This was nice. I liked the room. The conversation was fun. I like that we got to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Jeffrey Graham Tattoos on TikTok.
There you go.
If you guys would like to follow him, he is my tattoo artist. And he goes live when he tattoos people.
10:30 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday.
Is that your actual work schedule?
Yep. Well, I mean, I get to work sooner than that, but I don't usually turn the live on until around 10:30.
All right, guys. With that being said, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope to do this again. I hope this isn't a one-time thing. Are you feeling more comfortable if
Yeah.
we do this again? Yeah.
Oh, we can make it a series.
We could make it a series. We could call it Jiving with Jeff.
Oh, we could.
With that being said, guys, we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
See ya.